We're on the crest of a wave, Brian Eason said recently. The Red Roses are looking lethal. Oh, the razzmatazz and the score! They have carried their scintillating form all the way to Cardiff. 8 tries for the Red Roses, 14 women, no problem.
Scotland over the line, try!
They are running riot now here at Ashton Gate.
Well, the sold-out signs have gone up at the Hive Stadium in Edinburgh, where we've had 4 seasons in one day so far. We've also got a record crowd as a Scotland side showing signs of rapid improvement take on Grand Slam chasing England. It's a 2:15 kickoff. And we've got our own Scotland-England rivalry here too, with Scotland number 8 Jade Conkle and former England flanker Maggie Alfonsi. Jade, I wonder, we've got this buzz around the women's game in Scotland right now, and hence a record crowd. How much can your teammates potentially feed off that today as they take on the best side in the world?
I think they'll feed off it massively. I think as a country we're very patriotic. We love to hear the crowd roar, and that's exactly what they're going to bring today. And the fact that there's so many numbers on seats is testament to the way the girls are playing so far. So it's going to be a really exciting match, and one that I know the crowd are going to get behind, and Scotland are going to thrive off the noise.
Maggie, how do we judge England right now when they've won 2 bonus point wins, 16 tries scored?
Look, the best way to judge England isn't by the points or the tries, but actually by the quality of their performances. And you think about it, England's performances haven't been that great. Against Italy, slow start, lots of errors. Against Wales, much more improved performance, but they gave away a lot of penalties. You know, 1 penalty that led to a try. So I guess for England, the main message is, you know, performing for 80 minutes and having that good game management.
Well, there was an eye-catching omission when England named a team showing 2 changes. Captain Marley Packer drops to the bench. Sadia Kabea wears the 7 jersey instead. Second row Zoe Allcroft leads the side from blindside flanker, with England opting for 3 locks with the return of Abby Ward. Amy Cockayne back at hooker for her first test start in a year. The back line, the same, so there's no room for Emily Scarrett, with John Mitchell explaining she's not trained fully after a leg problem. And we can talk to one of John Mitchell's assistants now, Sarah Hunter. Hi, Sarah. I saw you out there a little earlier with scrum half Mo Hunt. You were clearly trying to work out which way this wind is blowing. What do you make of these conditions and how it might impact on the way you want to play?
Yeah, you know, it is windy, but it's the same for both sides, a bit blustery. So we've talked about it in the week, so hopefully we've got a plan to, you know, when we're playing into the wind, but equally when we've got the wind behind us. So our halfbacks, Mo and Holly today, will control that for us.
Now, if England drop their captain, there are clearly going to be questions asked. So, no Marley Packer, but what is it that you and John Mitchell like about this back row you've selected today?
I think, first of all, like, Marley hasn't been dropped. You know, we've got a great squad, and she's gone onto the bench, and like, it's definitely not a performance decision. So that's the first thing. She'll bring wonderful impact when she comes off the bench from a playing, but also a leadership point of view. And you know, with the back row with Zoe, like, we've got probably a bit of a more line-out option, a bit of mobility around the park. So yeah, it's horses for courses, but Marley certainly got a great role to play when she comes off the bench, and it's not a performance indication.
Appreciate your time, Sarah. Go well.
Thank you. Yeah, Maudie.
Maggie, we've got a bit of, you might be interrupted by pipers in any second. There's a bit of a disconnect here because John Mitchell said this week there's no room for rotation, and yet Sarah Hunter is saying Marley Packer's not been dropped. What do you think?
Oh, I love the contrasting discussions and the views there. Do you know what? I like Marley Packer. I'm a massive fan of hers, but I also really like this selection. You know, these three players have been dynamic, they're hard-working, they're consistent, and actually bringing Ward in the second row means that England have another line-out option. But, you know, Packer off the bench, she is going to want to prove a point. You know, she hasn't been on the bench since she's been captain, so there's a real big focus on wanting to prove that she should be that number 7. So I can't wait to see her come on and see what she does.
Having said we've had 4 seasons, we've now got rain. Jade, your teammate at Harlequins, Ellie Kildunn, is going great guns. 4 tries in the tournament so far, leading scorer. How big a threat is she going to be to Scotland today?
She's going to be a massive threat. If you give Ellie Kildunn space, she's going to take it. You know, you forget how young she is. You know, her name's everywhere. She's a great player and one that is going to be a massive threat to Scotland despite the weather. I'd like to see her linking up a lot with the back 3, and I hope, you know, they're going to cause some disruption, especially in attack.
Well, Scotland have got a couple of key players back today, and fullback Chloe Rollie and hooker Lana Skeldon. We can hear from their coach now, Brian Eason.
Brian, it's a sellout crowd here for the first time ever at House Stadium. Just how big an opportunity is this now to take on England when the platform is here?
Yeah, any time you play against England, it's always an opportunity, isn't it? Just to show how our performances are coming on, and you know, we made it very clear that we're not benchmarking ourselves against England or France, but we've benchmarked performances, and you know, we did that against France a couple of weeks ago, and we've got to do the same again today.
Chloe Rollie and Lana Skeldon back in the starting pack. How useful would that experience be today with the challenge ahead?
I think experience is important today, especially with the weather. You know, it's very windy, it's blustery. You've got somebody like Lana who's 68 caps. You've got Chloe Rollie coming in as well with a high number of caps too. So I think it's really important that allows us to manage a game, because you're going to have to manage it. You can feel it, see it just now. So you know, it is going to be a game of 2 halves. You know, it's going up and down the pitch. So we're going to have to really manage what we do today.
It's a dreacle day in Scotland. Maggie, how impressed have you been with Scotland so far? They could have got something against France, couldn't they?
I've been so impressed, and they could have. They should have. I mean, it was so close. I mean, the French scored that final try in the 80th minute. But I guess what's impressed me about the Scots has been their defence. They've been absolutely ruthless. And I think when you talk about the confidence that this team is now showing, yes, they're beaten against France, but actually they've got this winning mindset, this winning run now. And I'm so excited to see them play in these conditions. I mean, I can just barely stand up here right now. But actually, what I like about the Scottish are they are now playing with confidence, there's structure, there's composure, and I think they're not going to be afraid of England.
And Jade, how much does Rachel Malcolm typify that rigour in the Scotland defence? Against France, it was the most tackles, the most carries.
Yeah, she epitomises what defence is. She will put her body on the line for the team, and you can see that she goes for knees, she goes for ankles, and she'll do everything she can to get that player down. So she'll be a massive leader in this defensive set. And you know, Scotland haven't come up against an attack quite this strong. England are going to look to move the ball. They are very dominant in their carries, and that's something that Scotland are going to have to deal with.
Maggie, what sort of, the wind is getting up, the rain's coming, what sort of bearing could these conditions have on this game? Is it a bit of a leveller, as they say, for Scotland?
I would say so. So England are very much around quick ruck ball speed, so they like to play under 3 seconds. So in these conditions, especially with Scotland's defence, they are going to want to try and put pressure on the breakdown. They're going to try and slow down this wide attacking play that England want to try and create. So if you're really smart, you want to play to these conditions. I also don't expect the ball to go high a lot. If anything, I see it grubbing through quite a lot. So you've just got to really make sure you do take these conditions into consideration, because the ball's going to be slippery. There's going to be a lot of knock-ons, a lot of scrums, a lot of line-outs potentially. So it's about playing to these conditions well.
So an excited and expectant crowd here at the Hive Stadium, all curious to see what sort of challenge this improving Scotland team can mount against England. Your commentators, Heather Lockhart, Brian Moore, and first, Sarah Orchard.
It is a packed house in Edinburgh. They've all arrived with high expectations, because Scotland, they are a team on the up. But what have they got against the best team in the world? Now, you can tell we're going to talk a lot about the conditions here in Scotland. There's Rachel Malcolm. You can just see there her ponytail, although it's done up very tight, it is windy here. Brian Moore alongside me here in commentary. They're going to be playing the conditions as much as each other.
They are, and what is always the case is what you're seeing at home is nowhere near as bad as it is here. The rain is literally horizontal. It's going to be very difficult, especially for the hookers. the line-out throwing is going to be a very difficult option today.
As said by a former international hooker, of course. Right then, wind, rain, but a small blessing is that it is not freezing here. So it's not putting off this sold-out crowd. It's just the wind and the rain. But yeah, no freezing drops. But yeah, coats certainly on, woolly hats if you've got them, scarves as well. And no doubt being in full voice for this match. Right then, the start of round 3 in the Women's Six Nations is not far away, but of course rugby will now make its stand against racism. There is of course no place for it in rugby, or of course anywhere for that matter. Well, well observed by this crowd. Of course, now time for the anthems, which will start with God Save the King.
From the 6th and 7th Battalion of the Royal Regiment of Scotland.
Time for Flower of Scotland.
Please remain upstanding for Flower of Scotland, performed by pipes and drums from the 4th Battalion of the Royal Regiment of Scotland.
Settles in, so do we. What kind of an impact is this weather going to have on this fixture? Let's take a look at the teams that have got to take it on. Of course, it's going to be the home side first. Brian Eason makes 3 changes. In the forwards, Lana Skeldon returns from a knee injury that she suffered in round 1 to start. There's a late change. Saracens' Fiona McIntosh now makes her starting debut with Emma Wassell, a late withdrawal for the side. Now in the backs, Loughborough Lightning's Chloe Rowley. She gets her first start of the Six Nations at 15, and her inclusion means that Meryl Smith moves to 12, whilst of course vice-captain Helen Nelson continues at fly half. As we move on into England, there are 2 changes for John Mitchell's side, and plenty to discuss with it. All the movement in the forwards as Leicester Tigers hooker Amy Cockayne, she returns after injury, but it's Zoe Allcross who skippers the side as she switches to the back row, and that allows Abby Ward to come in to the second row. Now the backs are unchanged, with a focus no doubt on the kickers today. They've left points out on the field in rounds 1 and 2. How they'll manage these conditions is yet to be seen. Bristol's Holly Aitchinson there wearing 10, whilst fullback Ellie Kildun, she continues at 15. She's the top try scorer in the tournament with 4. Now, if we have a quick look at both of the benches, Fiona McIntosh starting means that Eva Donaldson comes in to start and wear 19, whilst eyes for England, of course, are drawn to Marley Packer, who is wearing 20 today. Right, we are waiting for a very special arrival today. The ball is being run onto the field in a few moments' time. That's our referee there, Clara Munirani, who will be leaving us underway. But the match ball is actually being brought on by Sandra Cole-Martino. She was Scotland's captain at the '94 World Cup. It is, of course, the 30th anniversary of that tournament this year. Significance there for England as well, because '94 was the first time they were actually crowned champions. Okay, the teams are desperate to get underway. They're going to have to wait a few more moments. Heather, how are you feeling about these conditions, Heather Lockhart?
Oh, sure, it's just a shower. But the cloud's down, but the absolute massive roar by the crowd. So looking forward to an amazing game.
Okay, right then. Heather Lockhart and Brian Moore here with us. And here is round 3 of the Women's Six Nations in these conditions. And we're off. Scotland against England, possibly also against Mother Nature. We're underway in Edinburgh as England look for a 3rd win in this tournament, and Scotland doing everything they can to slow their progress. What a performance they put in round 2 to hold France to just 10 points. At times they were leading in that fixture as Kildun comes on a run. Hunt manages to give that lovely flat pass away down to Ward. Back in the starting lineup on the bench for their 2nd round fixture against Wales. Cockayne, first touch of the ball, returning from injury. Atkin-Davis has been going through the return to play protocols after she had a concussion, but that one's straight out of play. Oh, the touch judge disagrees, says that has been touched, so it's a line out for England, and a big focus here for you, Brian Moore.
Yes, always the prime source of possession, but today even more important. Cockayne's got a very, very difficult but important job, and that's a good start.
Yeah, tight up the front to Gallagher, and Cabea looks up. Hurd is offering herself as the battering ram that she can be, and England look for their first entry into the 22. You can just see the ball is a little bit slippy out there, understandably so. There's a slight break in the rain, but it is still windy out there, and we're expecting more of it to come. Hunt, Aitchison. Jones was offering, but it's taken in the end by Breach. And it's been knocked on the field right in the middle there by Aldcroft. And I think we can forgive a few knock-ons today, can't we?
Yes, you can forgive them. England won't want to make them. They shouldn't want to make them. They'll be aiming not to do so. Oh, that was just a case of also taking your eye off the ball at the last second as well.
England playing at ferocious speed, though. We know they want to play quick ruck ball. Against Italy in the first round, it was 68%. They really want that quick ball. That's what they've been working on in practice yesterday too.
Big front row here then for England. Hannah Bottoman, Amy Cockayne and Maud Muir taking on Leah Bartlett, Lana Skeldon and Christine Belisle.
Crouch! Bind!
It's a big push, but it's gone straight down to ground. Slippery conditions out there, and a nice clearance in the end by Nelson towards the far side of the field, just relieving that Scottish pressure. But Amy Cockayne is actually still down for England. Don't know if she got a little bit of an injury there in that last scrum, but Nelson with the clearance, and a little bit of checking going on now to Cockayne.
It does show what you can do, though, if you've got a hooker that can hook the ball, you know, can get it out to the back row straight away, rather than being under pressure, the ball getting stuck in the second row. Yeah. Scotland were going backwards, but were able to clear that ball.
There in terms of the scrum pitch,
straight away, straight out channel one.
For me, in that situation, both sides immediately collapse.
Lana Skeldon really coming back in today. She got injured in the first match against Wales, but missed France, but coming back in today, using her experience there.
Yep.
Well, Cockayne is okay to continue, and she's on the far side of the field waiting to get the ball in. Now playing her rugby at Leicester Tigers, having moved from Harlequins last year. Gallagher the one to go up. Cabea. Nice work from Cabea. Look at the hard yards. She's well over the gain line there. A little bit close to that far side touch. Support arriving. Hunt sees Aitchison, but not the cleanest of passes.
No.
Scotland are doing brilliantly to slow down this ball for England. No quick ball yet for them to try and get on that front foot. I think the expression sympathetic passing is going to come on during this fixture. Hunt, Aitchison. Forwards drive on. Hunt can see Meg Jones. And England are being well pinged back here. Kildan always on the halfway line there. And they've lost ground since the line-out.
Getting back!
Aitchison, she's tried this a couple of times. I think she can see space. It's a lovely take there by Abby Dow. Allcroft on her shoulder. Hunt to Aitchison. Ward. Yeah. Bottoman. Here comes Bottoman. She's already scored twice in this Six Nations. She's going to take some stopping. The Bristol prop on a wonderful run. Gallagher can't take. You can see the frustration, and now Scotland are off. This is what the crowd have come to see. Mattinson gets it back in the end. The clearance comes in this time by Smith. Big boot from her. And after all that England pressure and attack, Scotland clear their lines.
Yeah, it was absolutely superb set there. The props just combining superbly well. Bottoman, we know what a threat she is. She's not just a straight line runner, she can move. She's got strong upper body. Scotland do well there, but just, yeah, a knock on. But Scotland did well in defence there originally, but Maud Muir there making the hard yards, getting her hands free from a double tackle.
Well, England have won the line out. And in the past, England have been criticised for doing a lot of driving mauls at line-outs, but I doubt there's going to be much criticism of that today. Ball comes back for Hurd. Nice work off the shoulder, flying through. In the end comes Matthews, nominated for World Player of the Year last year. Kildan with the pass out wide to Dow, who has to really reach to gather that ball. Nice idea from Dow, the foot chases on, bounce of the ball, who's going to get it? No one's name's on it. It's knocked on in the end by Scotland, and that's a nice position for England, but it's a penalty as well, because Scotland are offside.
It just shows how the wind affects in different ways, because that chip in ordinary circumstances might have been too far, but it hung up tantalising in the wind. Scottish players are trying to reach for the ball, it's going away from them.
Again, England, that break up the middle, very much to the fore in their last game as well against Wales.
Cocaine short to the front, a real tussle in the air there for Gallagher to hold on to that ball. Wasn't easy, and it's not a clean maul here. It's Kabea who has it there, and it's loose at the back. Hunt there, she had to take one for the team, no scrum half. And in the end, Matthews drives on. The most tense situation. Scotland have been, oh, Cocaine, that was too easy, she scores! It is slippy, it is slidey, but Amy Cocaine is strong and she finishes the job. England on the board, nearly 7 minutes played.
Well, England playing a 1-4-1 pattern, 4 forwards there. All of them targets. Just the first one, simply, well, that's just poor tackling. It is well done by Amy Cocaine, but that shouldn't have got there.
Yeah, she's been out for 12 months, but yeah, just that hard running just to the right.
Didn't she?
Yeah, exactly. Just that first tackle, yeah. Skeldon just slipping off that first one. And a strong finish.
Amy Cocaine does like scoring tries against Scotland, is all I'm going to say. She got 2 tries last year at Newcastle, so she clearly is comfortable in that position now. Holly Aitchison, a little bit of focus on her kicking, only 40% with the boot at the moment. And that one's got a turn to it, but it's almost turned too much. She is battling the wind as well, so there will be a little bit of a sympathy in her corner of the conditions she's having to deal with today. But it is going to be a focus as we get closer to that World Cup next year in 2025, that England's goal kicking really does need to improve.
Yes, and look, we've got 2 forwards here. Neither of them, I don't think, kick goals, but the percentages speak for themselves. And in games where you're scoring 8 tries, it doesn't necessarily matter. In games which are close, it will matter.
Kildan gathers the ball, sends it back down the field. Haven't really seen a Scotland attack at the right end of the field, or any kind of Scotland attack yet, Heather, and that will be a real focus for them.
Absolutely. We know how strong their defence is. It's topping the stats at 91.3%, and it's a different challenge today in terms of that defence, so that's a real focus. But I was speaking to Rona Lloyd yesterday, and they really do want to have a goal ball in hand, so they'll be looking for good possession when it arises.
One of the other things is, when you've got such a, and it is a very strong breeze right at Scotland's back. The temptation is simply to hoof the ball and go for territory, but that necessarily means you do not have possession, and England then do multiple phases and try to run it back at you, and it means you can't get your own momentum.
Yeah, I agree, and just not quite straight there, which is a pity. But yeah, I agree there in terms of keeping ball, choosing your moments, when to kick long and depending on what the wind's doing and when to keep ball in hand. Such a potent back three. We've got Rona Lloyd and Corinne Grant on the wing, scored against Wales in the first round, so really want to release those back three. Chloe Rowley on her first match back in the Six Nations this year for a start.
It was Fiona McIntosh that went up into the air, of course, on Scotland debut today. Saracens second row. It was a nice touch for her. Unfortunately, the ball wasn't straight, so it's ended up with this scrum here for England, just inside of their own half.
Bind! Set!
You can just see on the side of the screen there, it's Alex Stewart who's pushing away there. That's a huge shove from England. It's out at the back, and somehow Matthews has managed to get it. Still Alex Matthews. Hunt, her Gloucester Hartbury teammate, finds Gallagher. Hunt again to Aitchison, and some of the passing from England is very hard. Again, Hunt to Aitchison. That's been hacked on again. Kildone, really nice for her to get back onto that ball. Enough support there for her to get away with that manoeuvre. Bottoman again.
Back!
Arguably one of England's most consistent players in this Six Nations so far, Hannah Bottoman. Spun out then to Aitchison. There's options everywhere. This is a wonderful attack for England. Slightly having to backtrack to get that ball to breach on the far side, but she's done well going over the gain line again. Cockayne, Gallagher, Aitchison. Well, considering that they are playing this in greasy conditions, they're happy that this is still the proverbial hot potato. This is wonderful from England. Nearly everyone's touched it to this near side to Dow. That could be an incredible try. Nearly every England player touched the ball. An absolute beauty, and that is try number 2 as Dow touches down.
Well, England changing focus on 2 successive occasions then. The first combination was a 2-4-2, which means 2 players this side, 4 in the middle, 2 on the far side. It then changed to a 1-3-3-1, but all the pods that carried were effective. They got quick ball and well handled, a ball deep out of the back as well. Fortunately, they didn't overrun the ball, which is always a temptation when the ball goes deep, but that was a very, very good try.
Yeah, it's just the quality of the passes, and Kabea's just staying out wide, giving that final pass. But as you say, sometimes the pod of 3, sometimes it's 4. It's the release ball. I tell you, Herd is superb as a link player. She's not the try assist. She's like the 2 or 3 before. She's a superb centre.
Let's just, for those people who aren't familiar with this, let's just go through what we mean by that. When we're talking about a 1-3-1, you would usually have 1 forward in the area between the 15 and the touchline. Then you have 3 carrying forwards and another 3 carrying forwards further out, and 1 for the other side, and that creates 2 focal points. When you have a 2-4-2, it's exactly the same, but it's 2 against 4 and then 2 on the far side.
Yeah, and they're alternating it.
Meg Jones taking one for the team here in the wind. As that one just not quite got the distance on it. It was heading in the right way, but still no points from kicking coming England's way. So it remains Scotland 0, England 10. You can just see that Abby Dow was warming up her hands. This was the passing that brought to the try, and especially when it comes from an offload like that. I mean, wonderful skill set by Kabea there.
Yeah, it had a bit of height on it. She didn't have to break her run.
Scotland have got to find something now, or questions will be asked with 13 minutes on the clock and the scoreline as it is. Hunt was just caught there, but he just sort of tapped her on the shoulder in the end. Kildone. Hunt looking for options. Aitchison goes so flat to the line. Okay, an attacking platform has just been gifted to Scotland by England. Ball forward on the floor, and finally a chance to see Scotland going forward at the other end of the field.
Very much so. Great D there. We know what a threat Aldcroft is. Such an all-court game, offload, breaking tackles, difficult to break down, but a good position just on the 10-metre line. And again, looking for Skeldon to hook that back quickly and create a platform.
See, in some ways, the weather makes England's tactics, well, it's easier to choose because they haven't got to choose between when they exit via a kick and when they take the ball up, because the wind is so strong, the former option is just taken away.
Saying that, it's just literally died right now. It's just intermittent.
Bang!
But we are in Scotland.
Set!
That is a big push from the English pack. They get the penalty as well. And Natasha Hunt is off. She needs someone to go with her. Someone's got a scream on her shoulder. Cabea was available. Hunt looks up. The speed that England want to play has been something that John Mitchell has talked continually about, and we're seeing it evidenced right here. Aitchison, Hurd, flat pass to Kildunn, trying to break through defenders. That's popped up beautifully into the basket there for Scotland to take it on. No scrum half at the moment. Rolly goes in and does duties. Taken forward on this occasion by McMillan. This is what England need to defend, but Scotland need to get over that gain line. Comes back in the end to Nelson, right boot. And with the wind dying, it gets some decent length on it as well. Aitchison is in a good position to gather. England are not looking to play too much in that position, so Kildunn just put a bit to it. Oh, Rolly is there. Was that knocked on? Yes, it was. Frustration there for Chloe Rolly, making her first start of this Six Nations. And a couple of appearances off the bench. She's been coming back from a knock, but that was their first real opportunity.
For Scotland to get into this game, they need their big ball carriers. Evie Gallagher, Rachel Malcolm have been good carriers. Ironically, a winger, Corinne Grant, has had a lot of dominant carries, and they need to get those players into the game to get the momentum. Kicking alone will not do it, irrespective of how far they can kick because of this wind.
Yeah, just getting a consistency and some flow on. Yeah, Rolly been injured before the start of the Six Nations as well. Just finding a rhythm.
Well, Scotland have conceded fewer than 20 points in the last 3 Six Nations games. Still below that at the moment, but they do need to strike back.
No, reset. Reset, both sides.
I mean, this is where it's worth asking the pair of you, is we're playing on an artificial turf here. We're not playing in a mud bath, although there's been rain and there's been wind. How hard is it to keep up when you are on an artificial turf, Heather?
Yeah, well, I played last week, and people were commenting you've got your studs on, but actually the one thing you still need your studs on if you're playing front row, irrespective of whether it's grass or artificial grass.
Crouch!
Brian, were you playing last week?
No, I wasn't playing last week. Not at my age, certainly not.
It's slippy though, it does make the scrum slippy.
Well, the scrum is a problem, is what we can see early on for this fixture. And it's just a matter of how Scotland are going to try and find a way to sort this out.
It is a little bit like it, isn't it? If you get the right stance with the right purchase straight away, you can lock yourself, it's fine. It's when you have to move your feet, that's when the difficulty comes.
That's exactly it, and not everyone will have studs on, so when the moldies are on, then there's a bit of slip.
Oh, look at the power coming from Jones. Cabea was still there. Proof there that Cabea, she is a human being, she's not a machine. It's advantage then to Scotland, and they will get the ball back. Well, this was the move off the line out. Meg Jones there making that run.
Yeah, we've talked about that break up the middle. We've got 22 clean breaks that England are before the start of this game, and it's proving fruitful in this game as well, but just forcing it a bit there.
Sure, John Mitchell will be looking at this and thinking, yes, we are making the breaks, we are doing the hard work, but what we actually need is precision each time, because when it comes into games that are much closer than England, these will matter.
Well, the sun has actually come out and started shining here briefly in Edinburgh.
We've got 4 seasons in a quarter of an hour, actually.
Crouch!
Chance to let the shirts dry out just a bit.
Bind!
We do keep a close eye on what's coming our way in the distance. Scotland penalty, and that will be a big fillet for them. A warning to the England front row. They will not have it all their way.
Yeah, Maud Muir there at tight head and the number 3 on your screen. Just, yeah, going flat down. You've got to stay up. You've got to find a way. As you say, if you can find purchase right away, but you've got to try to find a way.
Well, Ellie Kildan has read that ball so well. But they're going to bring it back because she's knocked it on as she's gathered it. So she tracked back really well, but by going forward, she's given Scotland a scrum. They just need the same result as last time.
Absolutely, another opportunity here. Just learn from it.
Okay, not overextended, feet short. Yeah, and back straight. Great, thank you.
Yeah, the referee, just keep your feet short, not overextend. Otherwise, we're going flying.
There's a big thumping kick as well by Meryl Smith down towards this near side. Scotland need to get this ball in and out as quickly as possible.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Okay, the ball is eventually in. England are desperate, but it is at the feet there. Mattson needs to use it. She gets it, but it's Hunt who's there to slow her down. England steal it back off the floor. Just as Scotland think they can get away with something and just have an attack denied by the Red Bruisers. The ball gets spilt backwards. And here we go, a Scottish attack on the counter, but again, that slippery ball is just proving very tricky for both sides. First knock-on from England, though, and it means it's a Scottish scrum.
I'm alongside Sarah Hunter here, England defence coach. Now, Sarah, it's been a quick 20 minutes for England so far, most of the possession as well. Are you pleased with the start?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're in tough conditions and to win, but I think our 9 and 10 have managed it really well, being direct, and we've got 2 really great team tries off the back of it.
Oh, well, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
So they've set up the scrum on the far side of the field. And you can see that Katie Mattinson, who's just trying to listen out because the wind has just picked up slightly again, so she's going to have to make sure she can hear those calls for a back line. She knows she's got to get that in and out a lot quicker. Mattinson plays her rugby at Gloucester Hartbury, as does Natasha Hunt. So it's teammate on teammate, 9 on 9, but what a push. Oh, somehow Scotland got that out. Fantastic work from the forwards. Mattinson comes back and away, still Scottish ball. Players arrive to shore it up. Nelson is there, Rolly as well. She was just a slight overthrow there. No one could take it out on the left wing. There was Corinne Grant on the ground. Malcolm knew she needed to straighten then. England giving no inch. Back into the hands of Smith. Oh, stolen by Bottomon. Oh, and a hack on as well. Is there anything she can't do? She puts her hand up because she knows she's probably going to get in trouble for that, but hey, it's not put them in too bad a situation.
Yeah, Bottomon started all 3 matches this Guinness Women's Six Nations, and she just reads that she's a number 1 a loose head prop, but an all-round court ball playing prop, but yeah, probably not the best one.
Did you play with her uncle, Brian
Greg?
Hall?
Yes, he was a very good hooker, was Greg. I don't think he ever did that, by the way.
He's just rowed across the Black Sea. Got some record with 4 others. Well done.
Miscommunication there in the air as the ball was flying in. That means England have it. Muir. Hunt. Aitchison. Jones, who once again, she's happy coming in that very flat line. Hunt, Heard, we're playing advantage now to England. She heard from the referee. Oh, what a steal from Rolly, but they'll bring it back. Chloe Rolly does have a habit of scoring tries against England, but it's not going to be on this occasion. They can't hear the referee. And there's still players defending that. They still haven't heard the whistle. As I said, because of the noise, because of the crowd and because of the wind, it's actually quite hard to hear the referee's whistle. So they will bring it back. It's all smiles for the time being.
Well, this is a very technical point of view, but in the last scrum, when you saw the Scottish back, well, so the Scottish back row and the flankers lining up, because they want the most power to shove through the prop, they're lining up exactly straight, which is the most powerful position.
Offside.
However, when the ball is hooked, it hits the open side right knee and it stops in the tunnel, and therefore isn't able to get out in the same way it did when we saw the first scrum that Scotland had, where it came straight out of channel 1, when the flanker is slightly askew. So if they don't open that channel up, they can't get that ball quickly.
Yeah, slight angle. Rowley there just showing though what she's wanting to do in that break before it's penalty advantage.
7 metres out. England get ready to drive. Kane, oh, she's brave for that long pass in this wind as it goes to Maud Muir hanging out at the back. This time it's Abby Ward driving on. She's going to be a metre short. You feel it's coming. It's brewing. It's Bottoman on the ball. That's going to be over. Is it held up? Yes, for now. They move. They go once again. This time it's Muir. Popped off, spun out. There's women out there if they want them. Meg Jones can't take it, but Breach can. Still Breach. Has it been touched down? They're going to keep a close eye on where her feet are. So let's listen to the ref.
For me, the ground is good, but we have to check a possible. Agreed. Okay, great. TMO.
Okay, so they are going to go upstairs and have a look at this one.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Clara.
Okay. The grounding is good, but please have a look. Last pass, possible knock on by White.
Okay, so they're actually looking for a knock on here.
Your decision is try.
Yes,
you
yes.
want to check the possible forward pass in the last
The
pass.
knock on the receiver. Yeah.
Okay.
The last receiver.
Okay.
Okay, let's take a look at the replays of this one. The long pass out wide. And was it Jones, when she touched the ball, that actually made it go forwards?
Difficult to tell from that angle, but it
Yeah,
looked as though it went forward to me. There's contact. You can't tell from that angle.
No, it's a tricky one. I mean, Jess Breach was in exactly the right place. This should answer the question.
That's a knock on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the last angle is a clear knock on.
Yes, forward. Yeah.
Okay.
No try. Forward pass.
Okay, no try. We'll restart then with a scrum. It's a Scottish scrum, and it's in a really tight corner of the hive here in Edinburgh. Rachel Markham there, just on the left-hand side of your screen, gearing up her side as Meg Jones puts her hands up and goes, yep, it was me.
That ball just super slippy. 9 handling errors by England.
Yeah,
That
I
moment.
no, it's fine, it's fine. I try to move. No problem.
Well, Katie Mattison there getting ready to put the ball in. You can see those handling errors on your screen. Worth mentioning that Mattison, she did actually win 7 England caps back in between 2017 and 2018 before making her Scottish debut against Colombia back in 2022. What a shove there by England. Scotland have done really well to hold the ball and get the penalty.
Clear release and rolling before.
Gallagher did superbly well there, retreating scrum, reaching in. You've got the second row's feet and the flanker's feet coming backwards, treading on your hands, and yet she still was able to get that away and make enough ground for people to get time to come in behind her.
It's the secondary drive by England, just the power comes through, but Gallagher so composed for so young, and just, yeah, excellent play there and good support there from her backs as well.
Well, the ball back into Scottish hands. Bristol Smith sends it down towards the far side touch. No mistake this time, definitely off the field, and Scotland now with the line out on the far side. Smith, of course, playing 15 in round 2. Switching back to 12, as versatile as the 22-year-old is. Oh, it was a big English mitt in there to disrupt that Scottish lineup. That will be frustrating, and England come once again. Hunt finds Gallagher, straight into the Scottish skipper Malcolm. Hunt, Hurd, Aitchison. She had Matthews with her, and Matthews wants it. Hurd straightens. You can see over the top that was Emma Orr, told to leave it.
First, clearly release.
And England no doubt about to drop this straight into the corner.
Well, you're seeing the number 10 that Matthews has got her hands on the ball. She's been given a relatively free role to appear where she wants the support carrier. And when she times it well and gets an amount of power and pace up, it's very difficult for backs to stop.
Doctor.
Well, England are just cooking up their next plan of what they're going to do with this ball. A little bit of treatment going on to Rachel Malcolm there.
Yeah.
An incredibly inspirational woman for all of the Scottish players.
I think the timing is quite good.
You can see Natasha Hunt there on the left-hand side of your screen, getting in the referee's ear as soon as any opportunity is available.
Okay.
Yes, saying she feels she's always being hit early. And she probably is, but that's the way it goes. If you're a scrum half, unfortunately, referee, you know, this is what scrum halves do, isn't it? All the time. Any possible thing. Can you have a look at this? Can you have a look at that?
Scotland have got a bit more rhythm now in terms of the defensive sets, really trying to put that English attack under pressure, still doing the half breaks, and Hurd, that lovely release ball, is still proving fruitful. But they're going to have to be more clinical in the 22 if they want to finish a couple more off.
Water off!
Well, Rachel Malcolm okay to continue, but you can see there is some discomfort there in that left hand.
You need more time? Okay.
She's got about another 13 minutes to get to go to half-time and see if they can make it even more comfortable for her. Amy Cockayne on her 73rd cap. Goes short towards the front this time. She's used the whole box of tricks already so far in this fixture. It's all backwards from England, says our referee. Play on for Hurd. Using every inch she can get out of her legs as England switch back the direction here. Gallagher is there, Matthews also. Straight into Helen Nelson, who's trying to rip the ball. Helen Nelson, for a fly half, does put in a lot of dominant tackles, you have to say. She's one of the best, actually, in the Scottish team. Bottoman. Cabella. Cabella does appear to be in almost every England attack at the moment. Gallagher. Bottoman again. They need to shift another 1 or 2 phases. Now it's Maud Muir. Muir is over. Her face says it all. Try number 3 for the Gloucester Hartbury player. And England finally up to 15.
Well, Scotland's defence there, scramble defence, was good. In fact, so was their first phase defence for large periods of that England attack. But in the end, when you have enough ball carriers and they're making, this is the important thing, it's not just making a carry and getting stopped on the gain line, it's whether or not you can make ground through the tackle. And once that happens 2 or 3 times, which it did then, eventually teams simply run out of players because players have to face inwards, and that's what happens.
Now the referee is going to check something here before the conversion is taken. She's going to go and look at something on the big screen. So they have given Maud Muir's try, but they are going to check something in the build-up to it as well.
Here we are.
And the whole refereeing team is just stood waiting for the pictures to come up on the big screen right now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Well, we're still waiting to find out what it is they want to look at, the refereeing team.
When they all 3 get together, it's usually foul play, so I'm not sure whether that's the case at the moment.
I think they're looking at what happens there to Evie Gallagher.
Well, she was lifted above horizontal, but in fact, Gallagher helped them because she put her hand down and therefore didn't land on her head.
For me, is
this is the best
let's
angle.
listen in.
Okay.
Number 2.
Number 2. Yeah. Legs above the horizontal line. He lands not on her neck or head, so So for me, it's not an idea of danger. It's going to be a yellow card against 2 white for a lifting tackle.
Okay, show you again. It's not dangerous.
Yeah,
it's not dangerous.
Well, as you can see, when Amy Cockayne goes in and lifts the player, she almost falls over herself, which arguably makes it better than it could have been.
Yeah, it's 2. It's 2. Number 2.
So the question is if they will send this to the bunker to have a look at afterwards, or if it's just a yellow card for Amy Cockayne.
We have a lifting tackle, not dangerous, but legs above the horizontal line.
Okay, so it's just a yellow for Amy Cockayne. England will play the next 10 minutes with 14 women on the field. But arguably, that could have been more, Heather Lockhart. That could have been more.
Yes, I think so. I think the actions of Galligan, though, mitigated it towards the end. I think that pulled that back from being dangerous to not as dangerous, and therefore a yellow card.
No bunker, no.
Well, I mean, it was self-preservation because Gallagher was facing going head first down, and she could put her hands down, which is obviously what anyone would want to do. But that in the end saved it being a head-on plant, which would have been a definite red.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to confirm then, that try from Maud Muir, it is scrubbed off because the incident happened before. So it is Scotland 0, England 10. So the try happened after this, but you're watching just at the back of that more there. That was the incident. But play continues here, and Scotland are mauling down the far side touch. Mattinson gets it out. Smith there, lovely pass there to Gallagher. Smashes through, playing a bit quicker here, Scotland. Mattinson can see space on the far side. It was well marshalled towards Jess Breach, but it's gone out of play, and it'll be an England line-out. But that was a good bit of ground gained by Scotland.
Yeah, I think, and the carry was just super hard. I think sometimes just in the opening exchanges, they're just slightly hesitant, but just absolutely driving hard and picking the legs up and getting some ground to set up the kick.
Amy Cockayne off the field, so Maud Muir has stepped up to throw the ball in.
Well, this will be interesting. I'm sure she's practiced.
Well, she's played hooker before. She's played across the front, whole of the front row. She's a hugely talented woman, and that's not bad.
I'm just talking about practicing with the jumpers.
Big shove here from England, playing with 14 on the field now. Just see Bottomon told to get out of that. She's trying to work her way around Louise McMillan there, who is there within her own right.
Play away! No, keep the line.
And eventually it comes away to Hunt, who box kicks it over the top. Scotland need to get back down the other end. Rolly. Here she comes, and this woman can run or push that towards Grant on this near side. Corinne Grant, she scored a bit of a worldie against Wales in round 1. This is better. Mattinson finds Smith, who was stood lovely and flat there. England almost hesitated to tackle her.
Great decision making.
Mattinson looks up again, waiting there was McIntosh. Pushed on that time by the fly half Nelson, and it's McMillan who's in the mix once again. Emma Orr thought there was a bit of space there, but she was being well tracked down by Red Roses. After all of that. Now, offside there from Scotland. And I don't know if they're going to look at anything there, if the referee has seen enough. There was a big thump in there.
Well, that time I think Mohin did have a case, because you're not allowed to play the night, although that was out. I think that was out.
Maybe that little word in the air there from Natasha Hunt has helped. And England get away with one, arguably. There was that ball out, but it sounds like there's an HIA check going here. So, of course, all the players, they're wearing these smart mouth guards, and if there is an alert that comes up on a laptop, it means they do have to go off and have an HIA, and that is what's happening now to Corinne Grant. And that means slipping onto the field is Fran McGee.
Scotland! Scotland! Thank you!
So Fran McGee onto the field, and she joins up in that Scottish back line as they're in defensive formation for this English line-out. Aitchison Hurd. Popped off once again. England, they are offloading an awful lot. Muir, she's had her try chalked off. Aitchison thinks she can see space. Oh, that's a nice chase by Meg Jones, and she's got it back in field. That's really good. Can Kildun go over? She can. Well, all of that's never going to be designed off a training field. But hey, when it comes off, it looks pretty good.
That's great footballing skills, and it's great spatial awareness to understand where you are in relation to the line. They made that look easy, none of it was.
Kildun's 5th try in this Six Nations as well, Heather.
Yeah, Rowley, yeah, absolutely, and fantastic play there. But just Megan Jones's reaction, being able to pass it inside. Look at that. Reacts well, Rowley turns her back, but Megan Jones from the 7th circuit being able to adapt to the conditions. Great roll there by Kildun to finish. That's a super finish. 5th try of the champs.
Open on that, but at the moment for me, the time is good.
Okay, England do get some extras on the board this time through Aitchison, so that will take a little bit of the pressure off her. She's now 1 from 3 with the boot, but again, Zoe Allcroft well in the ear there of our referee Clara Minarini, and England still unhappy.
You saw in the precursor to that, one of the Scottish difficulties this half. They've rarely had the ball because England have been driving. They get 3 or 4 phases of play, and then it becomes slightly unstuck. But because the wind's with them, they think, right, we'll kick this now, because we'll make ground. And they did, but that gave the ball back to England, and hence
back down the
other end.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a great passage of play there, both Nelson and Smith bursting through.
Well, the concern for Scotland right now will be with 5 minutes of this first half to play. Remember, England playing with 14 women on the field, is that in the second half, England have the wind.
But the same thing will apply. Will England just seek to carry on what they've been doing, or will they simply say, well, we've got the wind, why don't we just take advantage, get down there? But that doesn't actually create plays. It creates territory, but not possession and not plays.
Yeah, and that passage you were talking about, Scotland were adapting to what the English defence were doing and finding holes.
And once again, another hand in there from England. This time it was Allcroft who batted that one down. Line out will be a frustration for Scotland. It was down at 72% before this match started, and that statistic is not getting any higher. England, of course, with one of the best line-outs as Kildun breaks away on the near side again. Bottoman. Hunt, Hurd offering herself once again, but then it's passed down the line. Aitchison popped off to Kildun. He's still going, she hacks the ball on. Gathered by Rolly at the back. And it's Jess Breach who's there, just trying to marshal her a little bit closer towards the far side touch.
Yep. Yes, perfect. Use it!
Martinson does finally get it away. And it's just slow ball for Scotland, but it's Evie Gallagher who comes in the end to actually make a few more metres.
Inside.
Smith, and there was a hand in it from Hunt, and England have it. The execution and not letting any opportunity go from England can be nothing but applauded at times. And here's Muir, she thought about the pop-off, takes the contact in the end. Aitchison, there's numbers on this near side if they get it out, passed out in the end to Dowd, but it's not a clean pass as it goes out of play. Frustration for England, and a few shoelaces being done up by Scotland to try and give themselves a bit of time to regather.
Well, it comes out eventually, and Matthews go for the miss pass. No need there. A simple, well, it would have been a 2-on-1 had it gone to the immediate supporting player. Quite often players do this, and it makes the defender's decision for them. If the ball just goes through the hands, you don't need to do that.
What I really like though is Aitchison is really conducting that attack there, starting to get longer passes in, varying the type of pass, hitting Maud Muir just in the corner there of the defence. Really good stuff.
Oh, the Melrose-born Skeldon just a bit too high with that ball. Malcolm has it there. Has to take a roll to make sure she can place it backwards. Scotland in a really tight spot here. They need a few more metres to make a clearance.
No! One.
Warning there against England.
Well, we've been mentioning Scotland's line-out frailties, and I will put a word of mention and mitigation in relation to the Scottish hooker, Lana Skeldon, because I've been in line directly with 2 of the last 3 throws, and they were absolutely straight. And then at the last second, you can't see this on the TV, but the wind is strongly still behind Scotland, and they've just drifted over to the England side.
And England are competing, so that is a factor too.
Well, in this position last time, McIntosh couldn't quite get high enough for it, so they look to go front. They go round again. Oh, what a take at the back by Maud Muir. That line-out routine from Scotland just not quite clicking. Bottoman has made 60 metres in the carry so far. We're not even at half-time. Dow. Hunt. Aitchison. They're unable to be taken. Remember, England playing with 14 women at the moment. They've still got Cockayne to come back on before the half is up. Smith sends it down. And that's popped out of play on the far side. And that's a decent set by England. They've managed to avoid losing anything to Scotland there. They've scored a try, and now they've got Amy Cockayne coming back onto the field. And they haven't had to sub a player on either.
I know, it shows that if you've got versatility in the front row, it really, Maud Muir there with, coping with the line out well, and Cockayne back on her 73rd cap. But Scotland doing well there. Meryl Smith, a lovely kick there up to beyond halfway.
Let's go, England! Thank you!
So Cockayne straight back into the fray, and straight back into throwing the ball in. Scored a hat-trick in the World Cup final, Amy Cockayne. Ball comes in.
More. Thank you.
Clock in the red, so this will be our last phases of play, unless there's a penalty. And Hunt's seen enough. She gets it off the field, and England with a commanding lead there. Despite going down for 10 minutes to 14 women, Scotland really haven't had one strong attack down at the other end of the field. They've had to defend for 40 minutes, but it has all been about the Red Roses. They haven't lost yet in this Six Nations, and they intend to power on through. Half-time here then at the Hive. It's Scotland 0, England 17.
Mercifully, the elements have been a little bit kinder to us than they were just before kickoff, and England have made hay, haven't they? Apart from that Maud Muir try that wasn't, they'd already have the bonus point chalked up by half-time. 17-0 they lead. Maggie Alfonsi and Jay Conkle are still with me, pitch side. Maggie, how will England be viewing that first half performance in the dressing room right now?
I think, considering the conditions, I think they'll be slightly pleased in the sense that they have still showed ambition to want to play. I mean, I thought they would be doing lots of short passes, but actually you're seeing the ball go out wide. Some key players have been on the ball. Hannah Bottoman has been everywhere. She should be playing in the centres, to be honest. But it's been great to see some of those key players get on the field. Look, they'll be frustrated that they've left some points behind, some disallowed tries. But overall, I think they'll be quite relatively pleased with the first 40 minutes, and actually they can build on that going into the second half.
We've got sunshine in Edinburgh. That's great news. Jade, Scotland, as Sarah made the point, didn't she, just before the break there, that Scotland have had to do a lot of defence. How do you assess what they've done in that first 40?
I think they're going to be disappointed. I think there's been a lot more missed tackles than they've been used to in the first, few rounds of the tournament. They're going to be disappointed that they've let England have the front foot ball. England are offloading it well. The ball is slippy, but they're moving that ball and they're causing Scotland to be really stressed in defence. But hopefully they're going to tighten up those, collisions. We want to see those collisions going backwards. We want to see those double tackles to stop those offloads. So they've got a lot to prove in the next 40 minutes of just how effective their defence can be.
England got off to a strong start, didn't they, with Amy Cockayne going over very early on, Jade. And she's a player who's been out for over a year. Now, you're going through the same thing, having to fight back after a long-term injury. Just first of all, how good for her will that feel?
Absolutely brilliant. She'll be working so hard behind the scenes to get back. So to be able to, be back and playing on the international stage, she'll be absolutely delighted. And you can see just the footwork, she's had a lower body injury, how much work she'll have done around, that footwork, the evasion. And she's done so well there to be able to break the line and actually pump those legs through. And you can just see the elation in her face of how much it means to her to be back.
What's it mentally like when you're out for such a long time to actually put the jersey back on again?
It's there's no real words for it. There's such a pressure to perform, especially when you've been out for so long. There's all this expectation that you're going to come back and be the player that you were, and we want to be those players coming back. And it's testament to Amy that she's come back and she's performing. And it's a tough place, it's a dark place, but that's the beautiful part of rugby is you've got a team to get you through and loads of people working behind the scenes to make sure that you're ready when you come back.
Maggie, you talked about how, despite the conditions, which actually have improved, England wanted to go out with real ambition in that first 40. The second try they scored that went to Abby Dow, how much of that was an example of this new brand of rugby that John Mitchell is looking for them to play, with high tempo, all court game?
Yeah, it's been very much that whole quick ruck emphasis. So, when we look at the way that England are playing now, they're trying to make sure they stretch Scotland. And look at Cabea. First, look at the quality in trying to commit two players and that space out on the right-hand side. And the quality of that pass. I mean, look, forwards don't tend to pass very often. And to do a pass that's almost 10 metres long under that level of pressure is very good. But what England are trying to do are trying to fix Scotland's defence. So Scotland's defence there was really narrow, and actually what they're almost doing is fixing them, and then Scotland are overrunning it, so there's options either side of the ball. So England need to just keep doing that. I mean, stretching Scotland and forcing them to have to make a decision and finding those spaces out wide.
Yeah, you made the point to me just before the break that England, I think, 15 penalties against Wales last weekend. They got 2 cards against Italy in the opening weekend, and now a yellow here for Amy Cockayne, actually. What do you make of what the referee was forced to do here?
You can see where in the collision Evie Gallagher's legs go above the horizontal. You can see Amy Cockayne coming in from the side and lifting, and ultimately that can lead to a dangerous decision, a dangerous tackle, and that's what we want to take out of rugby.
Yeah, and yellow is the right call because actually, look, horizontal, but they don't actually take her head into the ground. So the laws state a player cannot be lifted off the ground and then head driven into the ground. So if you're looking at mitigation, the referee's gone that the head hasn't gone to the ground, but actually that is a dangerous action. So the yellow is the right card. But Cockayne's had it all. She scored a try, she's been out for 12 months, and now has got a yellow card, but obviously he's making an impact since coming back on the field.
Is discipline a problem for England, Maggie?
I definitely think it is. I mean, we talked about it with John Mitchell in the last round about England need to improve on this. Against Italy, they had 1 yellow card, 1 red card, 15 penalties against Wales, and another yellow card. I mean, they just need to keep players on the field. So it is an issue that they need to improve on, because against a stronger sort of team in the first half, you will struggle against that.
Ellie Kildon, she's going well in this tournament, isn't she? That's her 5th try now. She's chalked up in just 3 games. What is her skill set, Jade?
I think she reads the game really well. Her reaction times are on point. Again, you can see the kick throughs, you can see her react. Now, I think England did really well there in general to kick the ball closer to the post, and you can see Chloe Rowley really deep in the backfield. So that's a perfect opportunity to England to come through. Ellie's read the connection really well with Meg Jones, and just the great finish as well. She's got a lot to offer in attack, and we're seeing that in the tournament so far.
Excellent, thanks Maggie and Jade. Now look, we had a notable milestone this week with 500 days to go till England host the Rugby World Cup in England. Scotland actually staged one of the very first events way back in 1994, but only after a group of very tenacious women stepped in at the 11th hour to rescue the tournament after it was actually cancelled. Now, a special play is being put on to celebrate that 30th anniversary and to celebrate that remarkable achievement and the positive change in the women's game over the past 3 decades. Our reporter here on the touchline, Jenny, can bring you the full story.
Thanks very much, Sonia. Yes, I have to say I'm delighted to be joined by both Sandra and Annie, and they are played by Eva and Caitlin in the play. And I'm going to start with you two. First of all, it premiered last night. How was that, Sandra?
I mean, it was beyond my wildest dreams of expectations how incredible it was. A packed house and a really receptive audience, and the actors were just sensational. It was fantastic.
I didn't expect you to tell them they were terrible when they're standing right here, but we'll come to you guys in a sec. But Annie, for you as well, is it a bit of a reflective period as well, going back 30 years and seeing, you know, youngsters playing you out there?
100%. I mean, I think probably there's so many words, emotional, and actually speaking to quite a few other players, they've been blown away by the what's been captured and how much has been captured of that period. So, yeah, I've come from New Zealand. I did, you know, obviously play here, and I honestly, what Sandra's done and Sue have done this country proud, and these ones, I really mean it. So I'm going to go back with a full heart, take this back to Aotearoa, New Zealand, and like, you know, at this play, I think it really will go global.
Oh, well, that's so nice of you. That's really lovely. It is lovely, isn't it? Now, Eva, what's it like playing somebody, and how well have you had to get to know each other, and do you actually like them?
Well, the thing is, we only had about 10 days to rehearse the play, and Annie and I only met last night. So we really never got a chance to meet, and all the preparation that we did was sort of like getting stories from Sandra about the team and all the players and all of their personalities. All of that came mostly from Sandra. She was such a great help.
Well, Caitlin, finally you. How's your rugby knowledge?
It's getting better.
Shall I stick with the play though?
Yes, I think probably better at pretending to play rugby than actually playing rugby.
Look, what's it like? What was last night like? You got 2 more nights of it as well. Can you tell me how excited you are for that?
I think after last night, it was just such a buzz in the theatre bar afterwards, seeing all of the real folk getting together and just feeling how much it meant to them. The atmosphere was amazing, so it's going to be really exciting to have another 2 shows of that.
Well, look, it's incredibly inspirational, ladies. Thank you so much for your time. And are we seeing a Come On Scotland in the second half?
100%. Go on, Scotland.
There you go.
1994, it just shows, Maggie, how time flies, because there, 20 years later, you were winning the World Cup with England in 2014. Do you owe a debt to some of these women? Because without them, who knows whether that whole concept of a Women's Rugby World Cup might have stalled.
Most definitely. You know, to think that they are the trailblazers who started it, who went against all the odds, regardless of all the people saying that you shouldn't do it, it's not going to happen, you haven't got the resources, but they still pulled it off. And I'm so proud. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have had that World Cup in 2014 to go on to win it. And, you know, now the women who are playing on the field get the opportunity to still be able to perform at the very best, build up to another World Cup because of these ladies. So it's fantastic.
Next World Cup, obviously, a year's time, or just over a year's time, in England. Are England getting enough of competitiveness, if you like, match sharpness? No disrespect to Scotland or any of the teams they've played so far, but you know, how can they build towards a World Cup when they come out and they're scoring tries for fun?
I think the big focus for England has always been about actually what do we do? You know, what do we need to focus on in regards to our own performances? And, you know, for England, Six Nations is a real good test to see where they're at. You know, the likes of Scotland, Wales, all the other nations are applying pressure on England. And I guess England having their professional contracts a bit longer, having players playing in that professional league, does and has made a big impact on their development. But also, think about with England, they're going to play in September, New Zealand and France. So these are other teams that will put pressure on them. I guess England can't really think about the opposition. They've got to think about themselves. And the reality for them is that they also want to make sure they win that World Cup in 2025 in England, potentially get themselves to Twickenham with a sold-out crowd. So, look, they can't necessarily think always about the opposition. It's about actually what they can do and what they need to improve on.
And Jade, how important is it for teams like Scotland to be getting more regular exposure to some of these nations, particularly maybe with this new global tournament that we had last autumn? Scotland won that. How beneficial has that been, although we might not necessarily see it today against England?
I think it's been super important. Obviously, Scotland won in Tier 2, and all those games were competitive, and it's made Scotland really fight for a full 80. You know, we've seen that against France, we've seen that against Wales, and I think being able to play different opposition, you've got USA, you've got the Japanese, it's just brilliant, and it's brilliant to develop the game as a whole, but especially for Scotland, because for so many years it was just the Six Nations, so to be able to branch out is only going to continuously improve the level of rugby that we're going to see.
People often say, how long is it going to take, Maggie, until we see a team like Scotland can actually come out against England and not just compete, but beat them?
Look, Scotland have the potential, and look, we've still got another 40 minutes to go, so anything could happen. But Scotland have just recently obviously had their contracts embedded. It's been a year now, and it does take time for contracts to really make a big difference. But I think when it comes to the Six Nations and the teams closing that gap, we are seeing progression. Again, the challenges England have started a bit sooner. So the key thing now is supporting those other nations and ensuring that they get the investment so they can definitely push on and be the best version of themselves.
So this is the opening match of this round of Women's Six Nations Championship. We can show you what's coming up later today. You've got Ireland hosting Wales, those two looking to get their first win of the tournament. That's live on the BBC iPlayer from 4:45 today. Tomorrow it's France, who hope to go 3 from 3, taking on Italy at 12:30. Next Saturday we're going to be at Twickenham as England host Ireland, and we're going to be on air from 1:45 on BBC One. And don't forget, for all your rugby updates, you can download the Rugby Union Weekly from all your usual podcast places. Now we can get a view from inside the England camp now, because I think Jenny Drummond is with Lewis Deacon.
Thanks, Sonia. Yes, Lewis, it was a pretty dominant first half from England, most of the possession and territory. How would you rate that in these tricky conditions?
Yeah, they're very tricky. I thought the girls were outstanding managing that. Like, the wind at times is really strong. So yeah, we've got the win this half. It'll be. We just got to try and keep being direct. I think it's really difficult when you're going against the wind. You have to be direct. So yeah, it'll be an interesting second half with the wind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks very much for your time. We'll let you get back. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks.
Hyde Stadium bathed in sunshine. Let's go back to our lead commentator, Sarah Orchard.
Well, yes, the sun is blasting now down onto the field here at the Hyde Stadium. After those incredible conditions that we started the half with. It's not quite a beach because it's still quite windy out there. But yeah, it's absolutely sparkling here at the moment as they get ready to get back underway in this second half. Benches to be deployed, and what kind of a talking to have Scotland been given at half-time? Right, they're getting back underway. And we are underway. And there is Ward. Waiting for the ball to come back. Hannah Bottoman does well there just to make sure she didn't touch that ball with her hands as it was landing around her ankles.
Music!
So just confirmation that Meryl Smith is off the field. It was Lisa Thompson who is on. So Fran McGee had already come on earlier for Corinne Grant, but she's off permanently now after failing her HIA. Bounce of the ball there for Kildunn as she hacks it on. England do now have the wind. As we welcome once again Brian Moore and Heather Lockhart, and the wind is going to be significant in this second half.
Of course it is, but again we go back to the question, how will the team with the wind choose to play? Will they choose just to play for territory with kicks, or will they vary the game sufficiently to make sure that they actually take advantage of the fact that they get possession and not just territory, because that is important. The wind won't do everything for you.
Well, Leah Bartlett there was giving the message there to Skeldon, but still that line-out is not functioning for Scotland. Muir. Ball comes away for England once again, who, surprise, surprise, they're attacking inside of the Scottish 22. Aldcroft, the skipper for the day, goes into contact. Hunt looks up. Red roses everywhere, spinning it out to Hurd. There was a Chloe Rollie hand in there. She knocked it on. Referee is playing on. It's still English ball. Hunt manages to come back. Bottoman. You have to say Bottoman and Muir have put in quite the shift for England so far. Cabella. Once again, someone's lost a boot out there on the field, so someone's running around with just a sock on. The Scottish tackles are raining down, but England are getting closer. Hunt spins it out in the end, out wide. The last pass is not going to connect, though, to Dow. She's had a couple of them today. And they're going to bring it back then.
On the line.
So they bring it back down. It's all the way back to the other side of the field. This was the line out that didn't function.
Well, again, you can see the throw was affected by the wind. Right at the top of that, ball just arcs away from, well, it goes away from England, but it meant that the Scottish jumper actually had to palm it from a position she didn't want to, which was further away than she wanted to, which meant the palm was inaccurate.
Well, from the penalty, England have opted for a scrum. I mean, it is incredible how sparkling the sunshine is right now after how we started this fixture.
Yeah, Lou Meadows will be happy with that multifaceted phase of play there, linking between backs and forwards for England.
Crouch! Bind!
All the tactical options open for England, both sides, huge blindside.
Ball is at the back, the forwards are driving, penalty advantage to England as well. It's being contained so far by Alex Matthews. Can she go the whole way? No, Hunt gathers. She's round the corner, not over, manages to move her body back. Cabella, too easy, try number 4, bonus point wrapped up, and we've still virtually a whole second half to go.
Something strange there, the whole of the England pack and the Scottish pack ended up back over the Scottish line, so there were no Scotland defenders when the ball came back from that breakdown.
Cabella was, see here, she keeps her awareness.
Well, she had always been lifted in the front row there, that's actually illegal.
And then, when they've held all of it, like held me as a flanker into that scrum.
But the England pack keep driving, which takes away every single Scottish would-be tackler.
Yours, Rachel.
Needed a little bit more communication for everyone to say where the ball actually was.
Yeah, just Rachel making the point, saying she was being held in, but referee saying play on.
No problem with that conversion at all, as England just move further up that scoreboard. And the concerns will be, and the questions will come in this fixture, if I tell you that in 2023, England beat Scotland by 51. In 2022, it was 52. In 21, it was 42, and so on. Those big score lines is the concern now, not just here for Scotland today, but for this Six Nations going forward.
No, huge, and it's to try and narrow that gap. So Scotland's challenge is for the rest of this half to narrow that gap and to not let things run away and to keep making the tackles, and when they get possession, keep possession.
Ball back then in the end to Aitchison. Look at the length on that with the win. Oh, and the bounce as well. That could be well overcooked. That's going to go back. Oh, she saved in the end.
You know your day's in when that happens, don't you?
Well, we thought that was going to go all the way down the tunnel into Murrayfield next door.
No! Offside.
Well, an offside penalty there for England. This was the kick. Look how far it travels with the wind. Saved by the post. Now, we can only assume that, of course, Lisa Thompson has been brought on just for the length of her boot and her ball control. The reason they said she didn't start this fixture, she's been away with the Sevens. She went to Hong Kong Sevens last week, and they thought it was too much to ask of her to come in and play a full 80.
Well, she'll have been shocked by the difference in climate, I would think, from Hong Kong to here.
Yeah, she got back on Tuesday, but such a great boot on her. Tops the averages for kicking, 14.9 metres per kick.
Small.
Well, Scotland win a line out, so that's good. Takes slightly the pressure off them, but they now need to get it out. Rachel Markham has it just there. Mattinson finally gets it away, and Thompson is going to earn her money in this 40. Popped off once again. More Scottish shirts offering themselves. They're going to switch back direction. No, they keep pushing. You can see Nelson was just waiting for it. Rolly is out there, support outsider as well, but the last pass doesn't connect to McGee. It's gone forward as well. And it's those kind of moments that if Scotland are going to make a dent in this fixture, they have to fix.
It's in terms of positioning and passing. If you're a supporting player and the wind is like this, you've got to be slightly deeper because the ball is going to drift back towards you. And as an attacking player, when you're passing, obviously a flat pass is advantageous because it does drift back. But that means the supporting angle's got to be slightly different as well.
It was a good line out, and there were some good carries there. Yeah, just as you say, just adjusting slightly to take account of the wind. No shortage of support.
Taking a while to pat down. England 100% with their scrum in this Six Nations, and that statistic doesn't look to be changing here.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
And the ball is in, and they've driven a lot in this match. In the end, Hunt will distribute to Hurd. She juggles, and it's gathered as it was knocked on. Scotland have got a hit here if they take it. Advantage then to Scotland being played.
Back, right.
Lisa Thompson having to go in to get rid of this one. Push down to Nelson. Orr is on the ball. Goes down to ground. Scotland are having to play far too much inside of their own 22. England looking for turnover ball, but no, over the top. England off their feet, and Scotland will get another chance to clear.
But yeah, as they say, they're just being pinned in that 22, but they're getting better ball carries there. They're hard runners coming onto the ball, but they've got to be quicker at the breakdown there. England just, yeah, off feet, but yeah, better passage of play and an opportunity here.
Thompson is taking her time. I think she's waiting for the wind just to slightly die, and you can just see there the flapping netting that's just there, and all of the players' hair and their ponytails. They're getting really whipped around here. Skeldon steps up. There you go, 6
Great
lost
take.
lineouts there for Scotland was the concern. As they try and work their way. Scotland, what they would give to get down the other end of the field and have an attack, rather than from inside of their own half. Malcolm, popped off ball, Bartlett offering herself. Mattinson again, Nelson, bobbled ball by Emma Orr, knocked on, advantage England.
There's a little bit of confusion there by Scotland in the sense of, are they going to carry it with pods or are they going to go deep? And once you've done one, it's got to be clear what the second one is, because the support runners have already gone and committed themselves to that play.
I think they need to slightly change tactics in terms of they're trying to play wide quite early, and that's not on. There's a strong wind and the way England are attacking and defending. So I think they just need to play a bit tighter, a bit shorter, just keep the ball and frustrate England for a period, and then they can build.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, Heather. Scotland, we talked a lot about their defence, and you can see there from the territory how they're struggling to move down the other end of the field. So we just see a change here coming off. So Fee McIntosh on her debut makes her way off the field. Coming onto the field in her place is Eva Donaldson. But just looking at the size of the Scottish forwards, they seem in attack to be having issues of getting over the gain line. Is some of that purely about size?
I think we just saw passage of play there. It's just in the wrong areas, and I think McMillan and Gallagher are coming on to it, and I think Thompson's going to make a difference here as well. And I think we just need a bit more sheer mindedness to try, and if it takes a while, just patience to move up the pitch.
Advantage. That ball is well in, and it's penalty advantage to England. They've got a free hit. Coming on the loop there was H. That's a nice run crossfield to Bridge. What a take by Bridge! What a finish! What a try by England, straight off the training park. Sometimes England are dominant, and sometimes you just have to say that was good rugby.
It was indeed, especially a wide ball as a final pass, which again, I remind you in this wind, you can see the amount of pace that's put on there. That's the important thing. If you're going to be a trail runner there, it's all right taking possession of the ball, but you're going to be deep, so you've got to be flat out.
Thank you so much.
What I like is, like, Abby Dow is a right winger, and she's come all the way round and produced a quality pass, and Breach has held her with fantastic finish.
See, if Dow doesn't get that right and doesn't get it at the right pace, all it means is she's drifting across the field on an easy tackle line. But because she's timed it right and because she's at full pace, she actually gets round the corner, gets corner the defence, and then the try is, well, it's inevitable if the pass is right, which it was.
And in the first half, that was slightly going awry, but here, that was a super finish.
Okay, Holly Aitchison, she's on 50% at the moment, and she is taking this kick on the far side, and I can tell you, the gusts that we can feel here in commentary will be nothing compared to what they're feeling down there close to the pitch. That one not quite got the direction on it, but still an impressive scoreline for England nonetheless. Changes then for Scotland, after we just watched that wonderful pass one more time from Abby Dow.
So often she's the finisher. Lovely to see her creating and being the try assist.
You also can see out the corner there, the line taken by Jones, fixing her player who wasn't allowed to drift because she stayed directly straight.
Changes then for Scotland at prop. Bartlett and Belial make their way off. Martin and Clark onto the field. And you can just see there from the restart, England have gathered the ball. Just one pass, one kick, they're back down the other end again. Too easy.
On the line, England.
Definitely taking advantage of the wind this half.
Be interesting to see when England start using their bench. Has been a little bit of the Bottom and Muir show if we do get to see Carson and Clifford soon. Ball in from Skeldon. Down then to Mattinson, looks for options in that midfield. Ball is pushed off in the end to Skeldon. And a stolen ball by Amy Cockayne. Amy Cockayne is going nearly the whole way on her own. More support arrives, they just need to shift that quickly. Scotland trying to rearrange themselves. They've done so well to get that at the back. England need to get it to ground. And it's one of the smallest players on the field in Natasha Hunt that was stuck there. That was held up, and Scotland will get the ball. So from an incredible moment there of danger after the head of steam that was built up there by Amy Cockayne, and Scotland did so well to stop it.
I think Amy Cockayne, that's 12 months out. Look at this double tackle, and just a superb rip, and then ability to turn and sprint into the 22. Scotland did really, really well in the cover defence, but yeah, just a gap there, recognising it, curves in field.
Now, which Scottish player is it who gets a vital?
Emma Orr, super tackle.
Yeah.
Right, they are just going to go and look at something here. We're looking for a bit of head contact. So Clara Munarini and her crew are going to go and have a little bit of a look at that. England do want to make changes after this is over. It's something will be checked first. Okay, so it is the shoulder there of Amy Cockayne on Lana Skeldon.
By number 2.
And even a yellow now. Amy Cockayne will be off the field because she's already had a yellow in this match.
I show you another time the other angle with a clear contact with the hand.
Okay.
So yep. It's going to be a yellow, which will mean a red.
In any case, we had a foul play.
So it looks like England are going to be reduced to 14 permanently.
So it means yellow card for show. In any case,
it means they will have to take someone off.
Go for, to the bunker for my review, both cases. Yeah. Do you agree, Matteo?
I agree, Clara.
Okay.
Well, they said they're going to send it to bunker review, but as I said, this is a second yellow card for Amy Cockayne anyway. So the outcome of the bunker review is significant, but she still wouldn't return to the field anyway.
We have a foul play.
Let's hear.
Upright contact with the head, so this means a yellow card for sure, but it's going to be a red card. In any case, go to the bunker for a review.
And whatever you say about these decisions, however marginal you believe they are, the fact is they're being committed. And this is England's second red in 3 games, and this discipline isn't good enough, because we've seen in the past England, and it was unfortunate in the World Cup final, but they did go down to 14 players, and it did cost them. And part of being a good side is having the right discipline in all aspects of play. It isn't about not punching people, it's about doing the right thing at the right time.
So Amy Cockayne goes and takes a seat. She won't be rejoining this fixture, and England are going to have to think again about their substitutions as well, because they've now lost a hooker, and it means when they make those changes, someone is also going to have to come off permanently when they next have to go to a scrum. An opportunity then for Scotland. They've got a full complement of 15 for the rest of this fixture. England won't be getting that extra woman back. 2 yellow cards for Amy Cockayne as Lisa Thompson just literally catches the wind as soon as she sends that into the air. You could almost see it stop as it came down like a stone. Hunt on the halfway. Aitchison, Bristol Bears player. Backwards! Not clean to Tatiana Hurd. Tatiana Hurd was actually born in Italy, but her dad was in the US Army, moved around a lot. She's lived in a number of different countries, eventually settling in Yorkshire and becoming an England rugby player. Cabea. Aitchison. Jones popped off towards this near side to Breach. She hacks it on, she's got the bounce of the ball. So it goes out of play. She forces Scotland into a line out inside of the 22.
Expected a little bit more on the 2 yellows. Were either of them particularly dangerous? No, they weren't. They didn't result in injuries. Yet they both were definite yellows, and they were both definitely illegal. And therefore, the consequences visited on her are what she brought on herself.
So changes here for Scotland coming onto the field there. You can see Rachel McLachlan and also Mary McDonald coming on. Fresh legs in there in that back line.
Good line out by Donaldson the last time. Let's see what happens here.
Oh, that's just gone over the top, and again that line out has proved a problem for Scotland. I mean, you can give the wind just a little bit,
not straight,
but this many that they've lost is the concern.
There also is this problem for the hookers, and when things aren't going well, the temptation in the double, you saw started off straight, very difficult in these conditions. What starts happening is people make the lineouts more and more complicated. More and more people move. There are more and more dummy jumpers. And as a hooker, you're sort of waiting and waiting for the person who should go up to go up, and it makes it a much more difficult throw. Much better if you're if you're in trouble, just jack someone up in the air, simple lift, and throw the ball straight at number 2. And people say, well, do you like ball at number 2 because it's no good, we can't attack from it. But it's a lot better than not having the ball at all.
Lana Skelton's an outstanding hooker, an outstanding thrower. The wind conditions are really difficult. So again, it's amending, it's discussing, and that's what they'll do now here.
Okay, so changes for England. They're bringing on a completely fresh front row, but because, of course, of that red card now for Amy Cockayne, they're also having to take off the field Rosie Gallagher. She's ultimately the player that's being sacrificed. So you can imagine that Zoe Allcroft, who's still on the field, she'll slip into that second row position. So they've still got enough numbers in there. So England, you can't really see them being impacted in this fixture with the scoreline as it is by the fact they've gone down to 14 at all. And this is 2 games now. Remember in the game against Italy, Sarah Beckett got a very early red card for England. Twice now they've been reduced to 14 for long passages of play. And it just doesn't seem to impact the scoreline.
And use it!
That's a big push from Scotland. There was an opportunity there, and they get the penalty as well. I mean, they're celebrating that penalty like they've won the match. But that's how tough a day they've had at the office in this area.
Absolutely, take it, and that's Eliane Clark's come on at tight head. Plays for Bristol Bears, absolutely outstanding there she was, just hugging everyone and really keeping tight. That's her super front row shove. Great play. Molly right there in the loose head. Yeah, 2 replacements really making a difference there.
It's a very good feeling, that, Heather, isn't it, when you're powering forward, physically dominating,
Yeah, and Mary McDonald's on, and she was harrying at the back of the scrum as well. Scrum half.
Scotland still need to get out of that half. It was Donaldson in the air that went up and got it. Thompson with the soft hands and the distribution in the midfield. Scotland needs some patience here to get out. Nelson manages to find Breach, gets her head down despite the fact that Rona Lloyd was running up towards. Oh, Breach! Still Breach! She's going over for a brace. Scotland had no answer. They needed to put in the tackle. Breach gets 2. Once again for England, 14 women, it just doesn't matter.
Well, superb individual try from Breach there. I didn't say in commentary because it wasn't my place to say it, but I was about to say, I've no idea why Scotland kicked that. They're a player up, they're a woman up, and the wind is so strong it made, what, 20 metres?
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, how just to try to frustrate England, especially 14 players, keep ball in hand, and I think that they had to do that there. Don't give the wingers a chance, and there's Breach just taking her opportunity.
Thank you, Mathieu.
I mean, she arguably has absolutely no right to score that try, the amount of defenders she runs past.
No, you're right. As I said, it was a superb individual effort.
Okay, so no Holly Aitchison taking this conversion.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
That one's gone towards the left-hand side. It was Meg Jones who thought she'd have a go at that one, not to be. So it doesn't change, and we can see changes happening though on the England bench.
Captain.
And just bringing in the England captain here for a little word.
Number 6, Cap. Just a second, just in terms of bunkers review. Yeah. Yellow card remaining yellow card. No idea if they do, but it's going to be red because of that.
Okay, so the referee was just confirming there that the yellow card was a yellow card, but because it's a second, it remains a red. As she makes her way back to the middle of the field, as John Mitchell sends on more ballast in the form of Marley Packer and Maddie Fairnarty, having used all of his spares on the bench now, but also a change here for Scotland as well. As we can see that Lana Skeldon is making her way off the field. She's put in a pretty decent shift, but it's been tough for her. But Marley Packer being on the field, hugely significant for England. Sort of mixed messages we have to say from the England camp about this is not rotation, but then Marley Packer hasn't been dropped. Bit of confusion there, but she's on the field now. And once again, the ball just hung in the air there from the wind. Scotland have it. Head goes down there by Evie Gallagher. Does really well there under huge pressure, and they need to get over the gain line. This is frequently Scotland's problem in attack. McMillan. McDonald was there, lying on the wrong side. The warning going against Mackenzie Carson, and Scotland with an opportunity to send the ball down into the England half.
See, that's the other consequence of actually keeping the ball in hand. If you are taking the ball into contact, there's every chance that a defender will do something untoward, and then you'll get the penalty.
Ball not out of play, it's gone to Breach. She hacks it on. She'd be on for a hat-trick if you can find something else from here. Lisa Thompson saying, all right, I've had enough. Have a shot at this. Jones gets it.
On the ball, on the ball.
Hunt. Fairnarty, great take. Only made her debut in round 1. Going in and digging that one out is Clifford as the Caterpillar is deployed. Hunt sends it down the field, doesn't need to put too much welly on it because of the wind. Gathered then by Lloyd. Rona Lloyd. Plays rugby for GB7s and also Stade Bordelais. Loves playing out in France, would like to go back there at some point.
No hands!
Digging that one out again is Mary McDonald. She had 100% passing accuracy from the opportunity she's had in this Six Nations. She's a very safe pair of hands for that distribution. Oh, strong, really strong stuff there coming in by Thompson. That wasn't quite sympathetic enough for Scotland. Here come England on the counter. Feanati. Big tackle going in on her. Referee saying play on. She was put down safely. Aitchison spins it out towards that far side. Trying to duck and dive out of the tackles goes Dow. Once again, Carson. Won 3 caps for Canada quite a long time ago before making her England debut in 23. Connie Powell, that's really nice there to Clifford. Gloucester Hartbury to Saracens.
Play on.
So Scotland have it. You can see Feanati just trying to disrupt the run there by Elian Clark, the Bristol prop. This time Nelson. Runs over the top. Speed bump tackle coming in there by Dak. Gallagher again. Been so busy in this Six Nations, 27 carries in just 2 games. 4th best in the competition overall. Not too bad at a turnover either. Oh, slightly scuffed kick there, and that's the last thing that Scotland need. But it's Scotland offside, and Hunt is off. They don't want to construct anything. Hurd. Spun out ball, still English ball. They need it quickly. Scotland nearly over the top there to disrupt. Connie Powell waits, she straightens. Marley Packer there just at the back directing traffic for Hunt, telling her which way to go. You can tell the fresh legs out there. Feanati has been begging for every ball. They need one more pass, and Dow is there. It's Kildunn. Kildunn scores. Kildunn goes over. She now has 6 tries in the Six Nations, and England have 7 in this match.
Well, you can see eventually Scotland tiring. They've had to do a lot of work in both halves. A lot of tackling in the first half, a lot more ball in hand in the second half, and it's taking its toll because they're simply dropping off the breakdown. In England, when they're getting quick ball, are managing, even with the player down, to make the most of it.
Lovely. That's it.
Well, as much as it is all smiles here for England, you have to say here at this point, Heather Lockhart, this scoreline is desperately disappointing for Scotland after the win against Wales in round 1, and then obviously that disappointment against France, but they still ran them close.
Yeah, and I think it's the lack of possession and the lack of territory, and it's so difficult with the wind at the moment. But yeah, an opportunity here. Last time they decided to go for a touchline, but I think actually maybe just attack and go, just keep ball in hand. Lovely pass there by Jess Breach. Super pass.
And don't be fooled, it is England with 1 less woman out there on the field.
I would say this, and this is not by way of an excuse, but it is an extenuating circumstance. The conditions, if you look at the posts at the moment, are bending really heavily. You can't see this on the TV, but the wind is very, very strong, and it's made it an atypical game.
Yeah.
An atypical game in many respects.
Well, that's a great point, because then you have to respond atypically, and I think maybe don't go for touchline, don't go for the kicks, and do the pods and do the taps.
Lucy Packer then in at scrum half. Natasha Hunt has taken a seat. Marley Packer, her namesake, driving on. Expectations of a big performance from her as it goes now towards the far side. Kildunn again. Kildunn also on a hat-trick. Can she be brought down? It's almost birds in flight from England, but they can't get there. What a tackle coming in from Scotland.
Lisa Thompson, well done.
Harrison also onto the field now. Tatiana Hurd is off. So Aitchison has probably gone into the 12 shed, and Scotland get an important penalty at an important moment.
You see, if you're looking for reasons to criticise England, and we are counselling perfection here, we're talking about breaks like that not being finished off, not being accurately finished off, which John Mitchell and his crew will want them to do that, because, as I say, in games where they don't get a multiplicity of chances, those could be crucial.
But that's an Olympian tackling. That's just showing her pedigree. Lisa Thompson all the way from the borders. Absolutely superb tackle. Anyone watching how to do a tackle, exactly that. Fantastic.
Yeah, Lisa Thompson, really worth her value in this second half. Okay, so big scrum.
Let's go. Thank you.
Mary McDonald is there, hands on the ball. They're just taking a while to pat themselves back down. England on 7 tries in this fixture. Before we actually started, they'd already scored 16 tries in this Six Nations. Scotland had scored 3 and haven't really looked to threaten yet in this fixture of getting anywhere near to scoring another.
Use it.
Ball away for Scotland, Nelson. Straight to Thompson. She wasn't happy with that. Dunn is just endlessly looking for space, and Rona Lloyd is tracking her down.
No, stay on. No hands,
Packer couldn't quite deal with it. In the end, Breach manages to hoover it up. Ball is out. Nothing wrong with that at all. Scotland well within their rights to drive over the top, but landing on the ball.
Diving
Off
on
her feet.
ball.
Just needed to pick it up and go.
That Thompson tackle definitely reignited the Scottish defence, just like playing with a bit more fight there.
There you go. You can pick it up, you just can't throw on it like that. Go off your feet.
Share the numbers.
Okay, Connie Powell then. Harlequins hooker. She's been pretty good with the ball in hand, but she's also beaten 8 defenders in this Six Nations as well, so she's pretty handy round the park. Scotland managed to disrupt that. That'll be frustration for England. Rare as hen's teeth that their line-out routine doesn't work after they had a few little troubles early days against Italy.
20 white.
Okay, a warning there for a neck roll against Marley Packer, and they do need to be careful of that.
Thank you.
Thought for a second there the TMO was recommending that was looked at again.
Kildone. They've got numbers out wide. Hacked on in the end by Aitchison. Waits for the bounce of the ball. Taken in the end by Gallagher, who gives it off to Rolly. Scotland looking for answers, but they're looking for them inside their own 22 once again. Meg Jones wants the tackle.
Move!
McDonald pops off, more forwards going forward. Martin. McDonald again. Manages to find Malcolm. And again, gain line is the problem here for Scotland. They're going backwards. McMillan. That's what they want, those hard yards. Just get themselves on the front foot. Thompson. Nelson. Loves a bit of contact as the fly half.
Goes out.
McDonald, she thinks she can just sneak through. Packer again. She's tried to snaffle that a couple of times. A little bit of a show and go this time round the corner by McLachlan. McMillan, this is a better set from Scotland. Patience is key, but oh, it's just lost out there. Nothing wrong with England doing that. Midfield. England managed to just keep that moving. The warning there to let it go down to the ground for Breach. Hacked over the top by Lucy Packer. Foot races on down the near side. Is it going to come out of play? Yes, it will. And for all that effort, Scotland, they get a line out 5 metres from their own line.
Yeah, just unfortunate that breakdown. So many tough, hard carries, but the ball just went loose, squirted out the side.
When you look at
and Carson there just reacting.
Sorry. When you look at England's back three, you can see none of them are physically remarkable in sense of power. And yet, they manage continually to get themselves out of contact situations with relative ease. And I think people misjudge the power that they've got.
Meg Jones makes her way off the field. Sydney Gregson of Saracens comes on to line up at outside centre. John Mitchell was very clear that he thought Gregson was the informed 13 in the league. As the ball comes down, oh, stolen again by Packer. This is strong from England. They take everything. Fayanati going forward. Packer picks up the ball, spins it out wide, going forward. It's Packer for a try. Marley Packer going over. England taking every opportunity, every chance. And that is now 8 tries.
I understand, but you can see a clear foul play there.
Well, Scotland have to be brave in the last 8 minutes of this game and hang in there and show a lot of pride. Because England, albeit a player down, are now starting to click. And Scotland are tiring and the gaps are appearing.
Yeah, the last 3 matches, more than 50 points scored, so Scotland need to, again, narrow that margin and try and just keep ball in hand and keep it clean at the breakdown.
Well, that's a nice conversion going over there by Zoe Harrison. And England are just keeping that scoreboard ticking over now as they close in on that 50. And that 50 is significant for so many reasons, but questions will be asked. But Marley Packer, the captain who was dropped to the bench, a big moment for her to prove herself.
Yes, and if you know Marley Packer at all, you will imagine the response that that created within her.
Okay, restart then from Scotland. 6.5 minutes to try and do something here, and the ball goes straight out of play on the near side. Lisa Thompson has done everything she can in this half with that long boot of hers just to try and help out the physicality. But the scoreboard is just all about the Red Roses. Connie Powell.
Good
that
contest.
Down to Packer. Here we come in with Gregson, charge down. England push back 5 meters from their own line. Lucy Packer needs some support, pops off the ball to Connie Powell. There's no real Scotland players in there in that ruck to cause too many problems. Big hits coming in. It's Clifford who goes to the floor in the end. Feanati, who was really up in the face there of Lucy Packer to take the ball on.
Use it!
Warning for England to get on with it.
Offside!
Box kick does eventually come down, and Rona Lloyd is waiting. What can she do with this? Scotland with the extra women on the field, remember. Oh, she goes straight through. They've got numbers out there. Rachel Malcolm can't take it. That is just the story of Scotland's afternoon. Every time they've had some kind of opportunity, it just doesn't stick. That was Lloyd's break coming off and away.
Let's go, ladies. Boys, scrum.
And it was right in the middle of the field. Okay, ball down on the floor. And that was Malcolm just placing it backwards.
Well, you can see at the moment, the wind is still screeching down the pitch. Is it time for another England attack? Of course there is.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Okay, reset then.
Reset. No, reset. Wait.
Well, it's a huge shift that's gone in by the England forwards today. A lot of carrying has gone on, we said in the first half, by Bottoman and Muir.
Again, too long.
Matthews as well had a particularly good game. Cabea had a good game.
A lot of them have really put in a strong shift out there. But they've really pulled away in this second half.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Well, the wind has gone to another level in the last few minutes. That's come out of the tunnel again, so the referee will have to reset that one.
Reset.
So this scrum is just taking a while to reset. Well, as they reset this scrum, I think it is time to find out from Heather McLaughlin. Heather Lockhart. Too many on the field. Heather Lockhart, who is your Guinness Six Nations Player of the Match?
I think England showed today just their real attacking intent and some superb forward play. We talked about Hannah Bottoman and Maud Muir, Sadia Cabea, but Ellie Kildunn with 2 tries and over 120 metres made is our Guinness Women's Six Nations Player of the Match.
Well, she has really put in a shift in this Six Nations as Ellie Kildunn, the Harlequins fullback, Twins haven't had the easiest of seasons in the Premiership Women's Rugby League. But they'll be hoping that a lot of this England form Kildun will be taking back to her club. Far side of the field, here comes Fran McGee. A bright run there by the 20-year-old. As it comes back now to McMillan, needs to keep that forward power going. Distribution down the line, Malcolm. Pass then to Nelson, now Thompson, little bit of miscommunication, but they did that really well. Rolly with the big handoff, but it's played on.
Thank you.
Still Scotland ball. And then it's an England penalty. Huge frustration for Scotland. We were just hearing Flower of Scotland being sung out around the ground. And once again, familiar story, England penalty.
Yeah, and Mary McDonald there, we'll just see what happened here. But yeah, choosing to take the tap penalty, I think that's a great option. We talked about that, you know, an atypical match, and just trying to keep ball in hand. That was a good decision.
Well, there you go,
Here we go
going
there.
over the top there. It was Abby Ward who wanted it.
Thank you.
Abby Ward winning one for her team to put them in the position they are now. Time for one more attack.
Amazing, Abby Ward. 80 minutes in the first round, and there she is. 78 minutes in a return from Matt Leave. Absolutely superb.
Ball comes in then to Allcroft. What have England got in the final throws of this fixture? Scotland just haven't fired a shot as Gregson goes into the contact wall that is Scottish players. Aldcroft, still Aldcroft. She looks for the offload, gets it as well. Straightened up by Fairnartic.
Tackle the underground!
Gregson, Packer. Apologies for any language you might have heard there as it goes out to Kildun. She's just got a little nice soft touch through. It's gathered though by Rolly. 30 seconds to play. In the end, the ball goes down to ground.
Use it!
Spun out again here for Scotland. They're at the wrong end of the field. Do they just want this match to end? Penalty for Scotland as well. You can see there by Rachel Malcolm's body language the effort that the Scottish players have put in there, the oxygen that they're trying to take on.
Absolutely, it's been an absolutely huge sift, and there's no doubt the conditions have played a part for both sides, but England certainly have managed their attack superbly well.
Scotland have seen enough. They had no more, they gave everything, but even a 14-woman England is still a formidable England. It's not always a great look for the competition when scorelines are that large, but this Red Roses team is something special, and they are growing too. 8 tries this afternoon in Edinburgh. 8 tries that have been played in the storm and in the sunshine, but they march on towards getting that Grand Slam. So it's Scotland 0, England 46, as England just go and congratulate themselves on a hard shift there. And let's start off with England first of all, Brian Moore. I said there, it is very difficult to talk about jeopardy in this competition when one team in particular is so strong.
It is, but that's not England's fault. You know, England have to play to their own standards, and if you want to judge them by the high standards, you have to say that there are moments of inaccuracy that they could have improved. Having said that, the conditions today were particularly bad, especially in the first half, and they did cope with those, and they came out with a significant victory. It is not their fault that the other teams are not up to scratch, and it requires further work by them. It's either you do have the competition or you don't.
Well, shortly we'll be hearing from the player of the match, but it has been some performance here by England today.
Well, England are in the groove, aren't they? Because that is their 3rd win in this year's Six Nations Championship that they've chalked up 8 tries, so 24 tries in total for England. And of course, that means they are where they were at the start of this, slap bang at the top of the table. There you go, 15 points, a full house for England. They are sitting pretty, aren't they, as they look towards another Grand Slam. So Maggie, what will England take from that performance? You wanted to see an 80-minute performance before the game. Did you think you got it?
I think you got close to it, but there were still some inaccuracies. I mean, based on the stats that I've seen, 33 handing errors, which is quite unusual. But look, these conditions weren't great. But England still managed to dominate this game. 14 players, and I know me and Jade have been talking. You've got to say, look, this England side is incredibly dominant. They have made some changes. They have still been able to perform at the high level, regardless of some of those errors and some of those points that they've left behind, some disallowed tries. But this England side, you feel like they've still got room to grow. But then the question you have to ask is it England that's really good, or was Scotland really under par? And it's a really challenging conversation to have, and I know Jade will talk about it in a bit more detail, but this England side is growing, but I guess the focus has to also be on how do we ensure other nations are continuing to move forward.
Jade, you're a proud Scot, and we'll talk about them shortly, but you ply your trades in club terms in England. What did you make of what you've seen today from the Red Roses, winning convincingly?
Yeah, like you say, it was a very convincing win, and I think the ability England have to move the ball is exceptional. We could see on the camera how terrible the weather was, and they were still looking to get it wide. They were looking to offload, and they did it very well. You could see that with the team tries. Most people were touching the ball. I think their discipline is a massive issue, and unfortunately Scotland didn't capitalise on that, but I guess we've got to ask questions on why is the discipline so poor for England, being such a top flight team at the moment. But overall exceptional, and they make up for it in other ways.
Player of the match, I mean, how do you choose player of the match when you're watching the Red Roses, because they've got that many try scorers? But it's gone to Ellie Kildun. You can hear from her now.
5 seconds.
Ellie, congratulations. Another dominant England performance with 14 players on the field for half of that. How do you rate your performance today?
You know, I think it was quite a sticky game. The weather definitely didn't help. Even in the warm-up, we were like, yeah, it's going to be a good day. But as soon as we started doing the anthems, as you saw, we all got really wet. So I think we adapted to the conditions. I think there's a lot to still work on. But I think as a team, to put a good amount of points on another good team, we've got to be proud of ourselves.
Yeah, it was 8 tries once again. You're on 6 in total. Player of the match once again. How do you feel you're playing right now? Not doing a lot wrong at all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like today it was a team performance. I know it's easy to say that, but genuinely, we got the space on the edge only from the girls working in the middle. So hats off to the rest of my team, because we wouldn't be able to do it as backs without that.
Look, before this campaign started, you obviously had goals. Do you feel like you're building in the right direction?
100%. We speak about confidence, we speak about taking the handbrake off, and each game we're just doing that little bit more to take the handbrake off and see what this England side is capable of. And each game we just seem to unlock a new strength, a new strategy, and we're building for the big ones at the end.
Thanks very much for your time. Congratulations. You are the Guinness Women's Six Nations Player of the Match.
Thank you very much.
That's Ellie Kildun, the England fullback. Maggie Alfonsi, just the way she's playing at the moment, Jenny said it, she's scored 6 tries so far in this championship. How much is she the spark, if you like, for the way that England want to now play under John Mitchell?
Yeah, I feel Kildun oozes confidence, like she really does play like she backs herself. And I think it definitely helps the fact that she's got players around her that feed her the ball, that set up those opportunities. If you see her at club level, she does the same thing for Harlequin. She's a player who just very much steps up when required. And it's interesting because under Simon Middleton, you didn't really see much of her, but actually under John Mitchell, he must be saying to her, just play what's in front of you and just go for it. And she's definitely taking the reins with both hands and really showing her capability. But I love the fact that she's playing in a back 3 that really are very similar to her. Jessica Breach and Abby Dowell, they all know where she is, and they like to set her up when the opportunities are there.
Yeah, is she a player at Harlequins with you that thrives on that confidence that comes with scoring tries?
Yeah, absolutely. She is such an attacking threat, and she loves all things attack, kick, counter, and that's what she wants to get out of it. And she pushes the players around her to try and find that space, and will call people out if they're not doing their job. And I think that's what she does really well. Is she wants that space, she wants to play, she wants to move the ball, and she wants to play that exciting rugby, which is exactly what she does.
2 tries for Jess Breach as well today, Maggie. I just wonder, under John Mitchell, are we seeing England's wings getting more involved in what they're doing?
Yeah, so what we're starting to see, I guess, with the way England are playing is that they like to get their players out wide. So look, you've got Dow coming in, and if you can see the midfield of England, they tighten up. So it enables them to fix the Scottish defence, and actually the outside players come in, creating all that space out wide. But that's only been created because England are creating that space. They're preserving the space out wide, and having the likes of Dow, Jess come off their wing is so crucial. I guess previously England was so used to almost holding those edges and their wingers staying fixed in those positions. But what's good, John Mitchell's come in and he's very much, let's play an expansive game, let's use the quick pace of the ruck, and let's try and get our key players onto the ball.
We've been joined by England's attack coach, Lou Meadows, and scrum half, Mo Hunt. Hello, both of you. Thanks so much for coming in and having a word. First of all, 3 wins on the spin, 24 tries in total. Are you where you want to be?
I think we're getting there, yeah. I think we're our own harshest critics, and there's definitely more in there. There's more that we want to go after, which sounds ridiculous. I didn't realise that was the amount of tries, but it's a really exciting place, like playing with a backline like that, forward pack that give you go forward the whole time. Like, it's anyone's dream, really.
What's it like to be England attack coach when you have that many tricks in the box to use?
It's an absolute privilege. In fact, I'm blessed with the talent of the players that we have coming through the system and in the squad, and that shows in the depth of player that we have and that we're able to put onto the pitch. But also, like, the girls are playing with such good ambition, do you know what I mean? So just developing their skills and their opportunity to execute across the park is just showing the variety of tries that we're able to put out on the pitch, which is great.
Yeah. How much of a change has there been between setups, between Simon Middleton and now with John Mitchell, which obviously you are a key part of? What in particular have you worked on?
We're definitely trying to evolve as a team in terms of the profile of athlete that we're looking for to play the game. We want to play fast, but we want to play with a really high level of skill, but also the decision making. Like you saw the girls there in the first half, they were making the decisions of how they played, they were making the decisions of how they kicked or passed, and that all comes from their own training and the way they go after it, and the intensity that they go for in training just allows them to then replicate that on the pitch again. So it's actually growing our standards, driving that shirt forward, and as a team trying to push to a new level that we've never operated at before.
As a scrum half, Mo, how much are you enjoying the tempo that England want to get into this game?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I think in the week it's tough because we literally go at each other so hard, and there's a lot in the legs coming into match days like this, but it just makes the game a little bit easier because of how hard we're going after it at training, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm really enjoying my time there, so can't complain.
So Lou, I'm going to ask the big elephant in the room. Discipline. Oh, so we had a lot of cards in the first game against Italy. We had no cards against Wales, but quite a lot of penalties. And today we have 2 yellows, which led to a red. How serious and how worrying is discipline at the moment with regards to how this England team is playing?
We're not worried about our discipline. Look, these things happen because we're playing with such ambition. We want the ball, so we're going for it, and we're trying to get it back as often as possible, and then we're trying to retain it, so we're trying to protect it. And when you do those things at the intensity and level we are, there's bravery and then there's a level of risk, and I think sometimes we're just not as disciplined in the risk-taking side of it, and that will come through our technical training, and we'll work on those areas definitely, but we're not worried about it. I'm super proud of how the girls are going after it, and I want them to want the ball, I want them to get it back, and I want them to be excited about attacking again, so I admire the way they went after it out there.
I think the thing for us is as well that message has come on, and the message is being said in the huddle, so there has to be a reaction, because there's a few that we give away when we don't need to give penalties away. We've put Scotland under so much pressure, and actually we just need to settle there and trust our system and go after it. But there's just such a willingness in this group to go get ball back and to be really offensive in our defence, and that's definitely a switch that we need to get, but we're definitely going to keep pushing that boundary.
Lou, can I ask you a slightly awkward question in the sense that this is no disrespect to Scotland or indeed any other team outside England, but when you're trying to, the Holy Grail is winning the World Cup for this England side. How difficult is it to prepare when you're winning 46-0 away against Scotland?
I think every game presents an opportunity to grow, and like we actually left quite a lot of points out on the pitch today, and that is something that we'll have to look at. Like, you're looking at 25 entries in a game, we should be coming away with that amount of tries every time. So actually there's still huge room for growth and massive lessons we can take from these games. We also came out here facing elements in the weather and conditions that we've not faced before, and that in itself is a massive experience for the players to have to work through. So I wouldn't say it's that tricky, and we've got the WXV tournament that allows us to play against the Southern Hemisphere teams that bring a different picture for us to have to problem solve. So actually, we're building really well towards the World Cup, and we're not getting it right. We're not super slick yet. We've still got huge room for opportunity in that space, and that's why we just keep reviewing, we'll keep working, and we'll keep pushing that shirt to the next level.
Appreciate your time, both of you. That's Lou Meadows and Mo Hunt. Enjoy your evening. Are you going to celebrate?
No, job to do next week at
Oh,
Twickenham.
you're
so
too
pro,
yeah.
Straight on the plane, I'm afraid.
We'll see you at Twickenham. Thanks
Thank
very
you so
much,
much.
both of you. Well, Scotland have got plenty of food for thought, haven't they? They haven't really haven't troubled the scoreboard at all here. They've gone down 46-0. Let's hear it from their coach, Brian Easton.
Brian, that was a tough afternoon indeed out there. Just how disappointing is it to maybe not even get on the board today against a very strong England side?
Yeah, let's not take it away from England. I thought England were outstanding today. I think they, once you give them ball on the front foot, when you maybe give them that momentum in the game, they're going to put you under pressure, and they're the best team in the world for a reason. I think that's probably the disappointing thing, as you say, though. We didn't really fire a shot. We didn't get ourselves an opportunity to get into good positions, and yeah, we're disappointed with that.
Do you think it was a case of tactics or conditions, a mix of everything plus the performance that England put in?
Okay, I think it's a mix of everything. It was difficult conditions, but it's difficult for both teams. Let's be really clear on that. And I think when you see a team as physical as England and they got on the front foot, it's very difficult to then stop them. So, you know, we gave them very quick ball. I thought the ruck speeds was amazing today. They were excellent at that, and then that just allows them to get on the front foot. And once a team like that gets in behind, it's very difficult to stop.
Look, you've got two very important fixtures coming up next. What do you need to do better? They're crucial matches for you.
Yeah, we're going to draw a line under that one. We'll come back in on Monday morning. We'll review that. And, you know, let's not take away the first two performances have been really good. We're not happy with that today. That's just not us. But we'll draw a line under that one. We'll learn from it. And we'll take it into the next two really important fixtures, as you say.
Look, you've bridged the gap with Wales, with France as well. This England team seemed to be a bit of a different beast. How do you actually go about closing that gap?
Continue what we're doing, like genuinely. Like, today was poor. Today wasn't us. You know, we have shown that we've put in good performances the first two games against Wales and France, against two teams that were above us in the world rankings. So, you know, we are going in the right direction. Today wasn't good enough, and, you know, there are glimpses in there that we've got some good things in us. We just let them off the hook, and when, as I say, when a team like that gets on the front foot, it's difficult. But, you know, we know that we've put in a couple of good performances to start, draw a line under that one, and like it's two tough teams, two away games against Italy and Ireland. You know, they're two tough teams as well, but, you know, we've learned enough from the first two games, and we'll learn a lot from that we'll take it into these two games and, again, push our performances.
Specifically tactically, would you say the line-out's an area that needs to be tightened up? It just, obviously there was wind that was a huge factor today, but certainly from the first two fixtures as well, maybe something that needs to be worked on?
Yeah, it's been frustrating. I think on a win like this, you know, that you can only, you know, I suppose the front and the middle is on, and they marked it really well. I thought their defensive line put us under serious pressure. I thought the second half when we threw the front, I thought we took some decent ball, but by that stage the game was gone, and you know, when we get into good positions, we need to be hitting our set piece a little bit better, and yeah, look, it's frustrating, but we know we've got it in us, and we know we'll learn and take it into the next couple of weeks.
Look, well, hard lines today. All the best next week.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thanks.
Well, Jade, he was pulling no punches there. Scotland were poor. Are you a bit surprised as to how poor?
Yeah, like we spoke at the beginning about the defence that Scotland had brought in the first two rounds, which was exceptional, but like we said again, they hadn't come across an attack like England, and it was evident that there was problems there, and hopefully that gives them enough space to reflect and actually go forward for the next two games, where they're going to come up against, again, two good attacks, but hopefully nothing that's going to, you know, break the line as much as an England squad.
It was the old commentator's curse, wasn't it, Maggie? Because we talked before the match about the fact that how rigorous Scotland had been in defence against France. And today, well, we just saw missed tackle after missed tackle, didn't we? I mean, why such a difference in a fortnight?
I think, you know, one, you've got to talk about the the competitor that they're up against. You know, England are one of the best out there, and as has been alluded to, they're so quick with the ball in hand, they run direct, and as a result of that, Scotland, I guess their defence has been so disorganised in that and trying to manage that, and they made 40 missed tackles, and against a side like England, once your first phase defence has been broken, it's really hard. And in the line-out, I mean, Scotland's line-out today, sadly, they missed so many key possessions which could have made such a difference. You haven't got a set piece, you can't play really. And you know, when we talk about Scotland's defence against, you know, the first 2 rounds, what were they all so good at was the breakdown steals. They were good at putting pressure on the opposition, so forcing errors, especially against France. But against England, you know, we say about they didn't fire a shot, they just didn't put England under any pressure. So England's mistakes, if I'm truly honest, were all their own mistakes. That, you know, they forced their own errors. So if you're Scotland, you'd be quite frustrated because we know they've got such good players. They know they're capable, and yeah, the weather conditions weren't great, but there are a lot of things they'll take away and go, we should have done better, we know we can do better, and we know what this England team's like, and we know how to take key aspects away from them.
Jade, we were watching the game together, and I just said to you, have Scotland been in England 22 yet? And you went, oh, I don't think so. How much is that just down to the fact that their line-out didn't function, therefore they had no set piece? No platform to play off?
The line-out has been a problem over the past couple of rounds as well, and we've seen that the actual completion of line-outs is pretty low, which, if you don't have an attacking line-out or a dominant set piece, that leads to problems in attack. And as we've seen in that game, we didn't see much Scotland attack at all, and ultimately very limited entries into the 22. And if you're not getting into the 22, you're not going to score points, it's impossible to win a game.
You may have seen just a flash of white on your screens there. That we didn't do that very well, did we? Because now we're joined by Maud Muir. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay.
It's lovely to see you. And then I think one of my images of the day is your broad smile when you scored. I mean, you must be so frustrated it was then chalked off.
I don't really mind. I'm happy for the team. Like, we put in a real good performance and we scored in a variety of ways. Yeah, I'm just proud of all the girls. 1 to 25, like, squad effort, really good.
Tell us what it's like playing that in that England front row, because you know you've got some phenomenal athletes. I mean, Hannah Bottoman stood out today, didn't she, for some of her carries, and just an incredible kick we saw from her at one point as well when she put boot to ball.
Yeah, I think like our set piece is incredible, and our scrum is something we really pride ourselves, especially with our new scrum coach. Yeah, it's been really good, but also our off-field stuff. It's just amazing having all 3 of us and the bench and people that are left out at home as well. We're strong in all aspects.
So Maud, I want to add to that, I guess. How good is it having that healthy competition within the camp? Because you're always pushing each other. I mean, yes, you're focusing on World Cup coming up in 2025, but it must be good knowing that someone else is pushing you. Now, Sarah Byrne obviously, and other players obviously out there. So do you find that useful, and has it been really good for the team?
It's only good, like, if you don't have competition, you're just comfortable, and I think that's a thing that Mitch really likes. He likes us being uncomfortable, and I really like being uncomfortable as well, and I think the whole team is trying to thrive in those conditions. So yeah, I think it is really good having competition, and you can only get better because you have to play and train incredible to be picked, and yeah.
Does it feel like no one is safe? Because I guess, obviously, prior to the start of the game, Marley Packer got moved to the bench. Does it feel like, actually, we always have to work if we want our selection?
Yeah, you're never guaranteed the shirt. I think that's a really huge thing in this England team. You're never guaranteed the shirt. Until you're singing the anthem, you're never guaranteed the shirt.
And what does it mean to you to be kind of heading home to Twickenham next, and that huge crowd that we're going to see for your game against Ireland?
Just excitement. I think we're all buzzing. Having a home game at Twickenham, like, that actually feels like home, I think it's just going to be incredible, and I'm so excited to see all the England fans there.
Good job. Thanks, Maud. It's really nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
Let's get some further reaction from inside the Scotland camp with Jenny.
Louise, that was a very difficult encounter for you this afternoon. England's so dominant and they just didn't let you in any way, shape or form. How would you sum it up?
No, I think we had some really good stuff to be proud of, but then moments that just so are far away from what we want to be. So that's a team like England, they can put you under pressure like that, and yeah, they really put the thumb on us and didn't let us out.
You've proved that you've closed the gap with Wales, defeating them, and then with France it was very close as well, but the gap seemed still quite far with England. How do you go about trying to close that?
Yeah, I think we just need to cut out some of our silly little mistakes and we'll be right up there. Like, some of those tries there, I just feel like that's not who we are, not who we want to be, so we're probably really disappointed with that.
look, you've got 2 more rounds left and you won both of those fixtures last season. Just how important are they to put out the good performances there?
Yeah, completely on us, but like we know that we have the systems, we trust in ourselves to do that, so we just need to kind of turn around, have a good little rest weekend and then go straight back into it.
Thanks very much for your time. I know this was a tough one to take, hard lines.
Thank you.
Yeah, Scotland, in case you have missed it, going down 46-0 to this very, very good Red Roses side. Lou Meadows, Maggie was saying she's not worried about England's discipline, are you?
Well, the coaches should always say that. They always say they're not worried about stuff, but I am a little bit worried because you can't have that many red cards in such a short space of time. I mean, the last red card that England had prior to round 1 was in the Rugby World Cup, so back in 2022. So you kind of feel for England that is an area they need to work on. But again, England are able to still play with 14 players and still win. So I guess they probably do not see it as a worry. But it is an area they need to make sure they improve on, because you do not want to lose a World Cup final again based on a red card. So it's something they have to work on.
Yeah, Brian Moore was making that point in commentary. It was Amy Cockayne this week who was the guilty party with a tip tackle first and foremost. And then it was a high tackle that did for her and brought up the red. Both justified?
Yes. I mean, so the first one, you obviously didn't see it in that first bit there, but she makes contact, she picks the player up. Look, the player, Gallagher's putting her hands on the ground, so it almost prevents her from having to land on her head. You know, you can't lift a player horizontally above the ground. Look, they kind of bring her down safely, but she didn't make contact with the head. So yellow is fair. This next one here, point of contact is shoulder on head. So if you look clearly here, shoulder hit Skeldon's head. And referees are looking for a point of contact, the force, is it dangerous, and then are there any mitigations? So I guess you could say the mitigations is she's going down, but it's definitely a yellow, you know, in that respect, and it led to a red. Look, Cockayne has been out for 12 months now. She's obviously come back into the fold, but you still would not expect a player like that to give away 2 yellow cards leading to a red, and the outcome is she's going to miss at least 1 game. So it's not ideal to think that she's had to go through that process. And if you were John Mitchell, you would be disappointed and you would have a word and you'd have to review all of this.
And you're a player at the minute, just like Amy Cockayne, who is out with a long-term injury. Do you often then, when you come back in and play that first game, are you just over-eager? Are you just rusty? You're off the pace? What is it?
I'd say you're over-eager more than rusty, because, like I said, so much happens behind the scenes to make sure that you are ready to get back on the pitch, and you want to make a statement. You've been out for so long, you've been eager to play, you've wanted to play, you've missed those opportunities to play whilst watching everyone else get that chance, so you want to show what you can do, and perhaps that's how she's come out today. It's really frustrating, especially for a player of her calibre, and she'll be kicking herself for it, but I guess lessons to be learned when you are coming back as well, to maybe just reflect, take that little step back and actually consider the actions and movements that you're doing.
Maggie, the ball facts speak for themselves. England have played 3, won 3, 3 bonus point wins, 24 tries. Does it undermine the credibility of this tournament that they are as dominant as they are?
I think you can't punish England for being as good as they are, because they are leading the way. It is incredibly frustrating when the scores are so dominant like that, and there's no jeopardy. You know, as any fan, any sports fan wants to watch a match where there's going to be jeopardy. So it is frustrating to see scores like this. At the same time, the big focus should be on how do we support the other nations to ensure that we are closing that gap. So at the moment, I'd say the gap is closing between the likes of, you know, Scotland and Wales, Scotland and France, but actually the gap between England and the rest is still really big. And even as an England fan, I want that gap to reduce. I don't want to see big dominant scores. I want to see really close games, and we need to have closer games, because it's about the integrity and the quality of the competition, and you want to have different teams winning this tournament. So there's going to be a big discussion, as it is always ongoing.
Jade, what's your answer to that question?
Time, unfortunately.
Is it just a question of being patient?
Well, we look back in 2013, 2015, when Ireland were the Grand Slam winners, and Ireland were the team that, you know, were tough to play against, and England get their professional contracts and they skyrocket above everybody else, and they've had that for a substantial amount of time, but that's not to take credit away from their depth, the players, the calibre of players they've got. But I do think it's time. You're starting to see the improvements now with the professional contracts coming in. But again, it's only been a year, so there's still so much to go. And unfortunately, you can't speed that process, especially when England are still continuing to build. They're not plateauing, it is still building for them too.
Appreciate the time that you've given us. Thank you, Maggie Alfonsi and Jade Conkle. Not even a Scottish hoolie could blow England off course. They head to Twickenham next week to face Ireland with that Grand Slam dream very much alive. From the Hive Stadium in Edinburgh, bye for now. Bye.
Scotland against England, possibly also against Mother Nature. Oh, Cockayne, that was too easy. She scores! To this near side to Dow. That could be an incredible try. That's really good. Can Kildan go over? She can. Crossfield to Bridge. What a take by Bridge. What a finish. What a try by England. Straight off the training park. That was good rugby.